Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome in. Welcome in. Happy Monday, everybody. Happy Monday. How are we all doing today? Let's see here. Hi, Dalek. How you doing? Everyone go check out one of my best friends in the entire world. Amazing singer, V-singer, Dalek Musical. Please go check her out. She has a lot of really good cover songs. We also got, hey, Paleo. How you doing? Thank you for redeeming your park entrance. Also, hi, Ramna. How are we all doing today? So today today we're gonna sit here and we're gonna talk about some dinosaur stuff because I haven't talked about dinosaurs in a hot bit, and I felt like, you know what, why not? Let's kind of go over some dinosaur stuff, and then I don't know, maybe afterwards we'll figure something else. But so in terms of like toy news, we got a fairly good amount of crap to go over, which is why this is mainly just chatting stuff. So let me take a look here. Let's take a look. See real quick. Let me get everything all set up. Okay, so first thing that we're going to be talking about. So we now have the physical copies, or not physical copies, but physical versions of like what these are going to look like. So these are the movie masterpiece Sideswipe. So these are going to be based off of the Dark of the Moon movie / I think Revenge of the Fallen. I mean, it's like ever so slightly there's a difference. I think the only difference is the car mode. I don't fucking know. I don't know my cars. But honestly, looking at the side swipes, I'm really digging. I am really digging that red side swipe. That's actually looking really nice. I have to see how much that's going to be. And it looks like it is going to be live. It's going to be live for pre-order on the 14th, which I believe is tomorrow, I want to say, because we're going by Japan time, which you can also get it on HobbyLinkJapan, which I am an affiliate with, which is your #1 hobby store in the world for all of your model kit and anime figure needs. And the best thing about HobbyLinkJapan is that it all comes straight from the source. It comes straight from Japan. And they do ship worldwide. Use my chat command code !HLJ. Take you directly to the website. And also there is the panels down below for those who want to check it out. All right, so this one, okay, after seeing this, so this here is Missing Link Grimlock. This is Missing Link Grimlock, and after seeing this, I might pull the trigger and get this, because this does look really nice. Basically, what it is that this is just the G1 toy of Grimlock, but with modern articulation. And honestly, okay, yeah, it looks good. This genuinely looks really, really fucking good. So he comes with your standard fare. So he does come with the chrome sword. He does come with his usual blaster. He does come with his missile launching blaster. Oh, we'll take a look at that here in a little bit. Which does come with a missile launching gimmick. Yeah, it does look really good. Now, the one thing that's really interesting is that it comes with a Diaclone pilot. So, for those who don't know, Grimlock came from, he didn't originally come from Transformers. His toy came from a line known as Diaclone. And the robots in Diaclone were piloted mech suits. And Grimlock is no different. So, this is really cool that we get to have this as like a little throwback. So this one is also, I think, is going to drop either tomorrow or the next day. But that does look really, really good. Now, this one is interesting. So from what I have been told, about this is that this is basically just an upscaled version of the studio with, I think it's like the upcoming Studio 86 Hot Rod. But this is supposedly the Style Gen Hot Rod. Which, if this is true and this is just an upscaled variant of Hot Rod, I'm a little disappointed. I mean, like, I'm going to be passing up on this either way, but, like, still, I'm a little disappointed in that. Considering that what we got for the Optimus... So what we got from the Style Gen Optimus is really cool. Because that Optimus Prime, you got a mixture of like G1 and the Bayverse. Here, it supposedly, according to people like TG Omega, this is just an upscale version of a Studio 86 figure. So, yeah. Now, this one's cool too. This one I do kind of want to get because I do love Lyle Convoy. So this is, I believe this is like a Energon infused Lyle Convoy. I think it's from the movie or like the last few episodes of the Beast Wars, the second anime. And what's really cool is that it can actually glow in the dark. I really love that idea. That's such a clever idea. Now, also, this is a retool. Now, I want to put this out here. This here is a retool of the Legacy. I think it's like the Legacy version of Lyle Convoy. So it doesn't have the really creepy ass realistic lion head. And it has the more anime accurate head, or at least its face sculpt is. But I don't know. I might pick this one up too, just because I really, really love Lyle Convoy. So that pretty much covers all the Transformer stuff here. Now, the other one here is that these are from YOLO Park. These are like little mini figures of like various characters from Transformers. So here we have, I guess this is like, okay, so this is the new wave. So here in this new wave, let me see here. See if I can find a group shot of all of them. Here we go. So in this wave, it looks like we have G1, let's see here. We have G1, Ironhide and Ratchet. We have Bayverse, Optimus Prime, and also Dark of the Moon, specifically Dark of the Moon, Bayverse Megatron. And then we also have Orion Pax, which is Optimus Prime before he was Optimus Prime. And then also Evergreen Bumblebee, which is really interesting. And then we have looks like a chase figure of movie Optimus Prime. And it looks like this is more specifically, I want to say this is first movie Optimus Prime. There's really not, There's like a minor difference between movies 2 and 3 Optimus from like 2007 Optimus, but yeah. So this is really cool. I don't know if these are like little model kits you can put together, or these are just straight up figures. And oh wait, hold up. Oh, and you can actually put them in the Gundam pose. So this is like a little homage to the very first Gundam series where Amuro Ray shoots down the Zeong. That's really cool. So here we have more pictures of Orion Pax. Then we have Bumblebee. Bumblebee is really cool looking. I'm not the biggest Bumblebee fan. However though, this does look really good. And then we have Ironhide and Ratchet, which are just basically a retool of one another / repaint. So pretty much they're practically the same. And then we have Dark of the Moon Megatron with his shotgun. So I'm really curious about that one. I don't know if these are blind bags or blind boxes, I should say. Oh, this is a model kit line. Oh, okay. So again, like I wonder, because I've never had Yellow Park figures before. I have the Blockies figure. I have the Blockies Soundwave that we build, and I adore that Soundwave so much. Sorry, my dogs are going nuts. But yeah, so these are really cute. I would imagine these wouldn't cost so much. Then we have Purple Megatron. Let's see here. I think the Blockies mini ones are blind box figures. Oh, okay. So they are blind boxes. Okay. And then we have Megatron here, who looks like he is... it looks like it's from the scene where he is basically digitized and broken down by Unicron to be reborn as Galvatron. So it's cool that we get this version. And it looks like there might be some slight differences between the two. Okay, there is actual slight differences. So it looks like this is a lot more painted than this one. So we have like the wheels are painted. The legs are silver instead of white. I don't know if the canopy is a little different. It looks like they're a little different. It looks like they're different. But yeah, no, like this is really cool. I don't know if I'll get one, but who knows? If I put, like, this is something I will probably put on my throne more than likely. So this one I wanted to bring up because this one's interesting. So this here is this is Transformers Retro Deluxe Wheelie. And yes, we're going to have to look at something from Prime versus Prime because I believe, if memory serves me right, he gets a lot of stolen figures. But this is odd. It's a very odd choice for a figure, and I don't know if there are people who were clamoring for retro wheelie. It looks okay, but again, I'm not like the biggest wheelie fan. No, I meant that if it was the smaller Blockies one, aka the Galaxy Wave numbers, it would probably be blind boxes, but since this is Yellow Park, I don't think... Oh, okay. Yeah, I would say probably completionists, but even then, I know a lot of, like, hardcore G1ers just don't like wheelie. And honestly, I don't blame them. It's such a weird figure, too. Because I believe this is a separate release, too. So I don't know why they just didn't want to go with, like, this release and stuff. I'm guessing this is a whole new mold. Yeah, I'm guessing this is a whole new mold. Weird. And I honestly don't know if this is in scale or not. I don't quite care. It looks off. It does look off, yeah. Yeah, so this is okay, so I guess that is the Grimlock with the DNA designs because it's got the bent arms. So we get okay, I'm gonna be real with Optimus here. I don't get the appeal of the Skybound comics. I don't get it. I'm guessing that it's just another retelling of G1, which snore. I'm gonna be honest with you. Just snore. But all from what I take it from it is that I guess Optimus Prime kills Megatron and grafts his fusion blaster onto him, or his fusion cannon onto him, from what I'm gathering. But again, I'm not like the biggest fan of like some of these comics, so again, snore. This I'm very, very hyped for. So this is the new Studio 86 Thundercracker. And yeah, this is, I can definitely see why people calling it a mini masterpiece. So I guess it's just to be in scale with the other mini bots. Okay. It's weird, but okay. Hi, Lilac. How are you? Let's see here. So yeah, it's a thing. The period I want is in between the end of G1 and Beast Wars. That period is ripe for stories. No, I agree. Like, okay, so G2, from what... Okay, so G2 probably not so much, but then also G2 also kind of set the... I guess you could say, like, set the groundwork for Beast Wars. Because I think, like, a lot of stuff from Beast Wars does come from G2, because... including things like the Vok. The Vok are, like, if I remember correctly, they are I want to say they're an evolved version of the Swarm from the G2 comics. So. Now, if they went back with a core class, can I be honest here? If they went back... Wait, if they continue with the core class, because I know we had like Tasmanian Kid. Hang on, let me see here. Hang on, let me see here. Because I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I really want a core class Stampy from Beast Wars. Because I was okay, so like I was like browsing Transformers Land, right? Today I was browsing through transformersland.com and I saw a listing for the core class Tasmanian Kid, and I'm like, I really want a figure of Stampy, which, if you don't know who Stampy is from Beast Wars Neo. Especially since we have Big Convoy. I want my little rabbit transformer, please. Can we please get a core class Stampy? I really want a Stampy. Again, especially since we have a Big Convoy, why not add another character from that line? Because for the second, we've had Lio Convoy, we have had Tasmanian Kid, and we've had Skywarp. Give me Stampy, please, because I want my little rabbit transformer to turn to like a twin pair of fucking buck knives. Yeah, I want my little rabbit transformer to have like a little attack mode where he can turn into like a pair of like buck knives or shears or whatever the hell this is. Like, please. I'm doing good, Lilac. I'm talking about Transformers for a bit, and then we'll talk about some dinosaurs. How are you? I hope you've been behaving today. Okay, so, with that little tangent over. So, this one here is also kind of interesting as well. So, this is a SD Fortress, or, no, I'm sorry, not Fortress Maximus, Metroplex. This is a little chibi style, god damn it, now I keep on calling him Fortress Maximus. Metroplex. And then he also can turn into like a little cube, like 52 Toys. So this one's done by Dr. Wu. Dr. Wu's kind of like an oldie if you know anything about like third-party Transformers. Dr. Wu's like one of the OG manufacturers of third-party. Like, he's been around for a long time. And from what I remember, he does make a lot of like little odds and ends in terms of Transformers. But he does have a pretty decent following of people who like his stuff, so. Alright, so this one also caught my eye. Doing good at going, well, have a good time at the gym. Make sure you don't overwork yourself. Take plenty of stretches, Lilac. Alright, so. This is an interesting repaint of Fans Hobby's Megatron. So I don't know what this is based off of. So this is their Giga Zarak. So I don't know what it's based off of. The color scheme is kind of interesting. It is a very interesting color scheme. I kind of missed out on I did kind of miss out on the original run of their Armada Megatron, because I know like as soon as this was released, the Legacy Armada Megatron dropped, and a part of me is like, I kind of regret passing up on it because I was a little overhyped about the Armada Megatron, because I love Armada. That is like next to Beast Wars, it's the most sentimental series of Transformers to me. But here I missed out on it because I was like, oh, okay, so the Armada Megatron from Hasbro is going to look really, really good. It's okay. So the Legacy's Armada Megatron is okay. It does have some flaws. Do I regret passing up this for that? Kinda. Now, they also did make a Galvatron, which I passed up on, and I don't know if I'll get the Zarak. This just seems a little too obscure for my taste, but it does look good. Like, this does genuinely look good. I know a lot of people... See, there you go. That's what you can do with your Armada Megatron. And I love that. I love this little play pattern. I really want to get a tidal wave. I really want to get a tidal wave to recreate this. Hi, Dubs. How are you doing? I'm talking about Transformers. Hang on. Let me get you a shout out. How you doing, Dubs? Hang on. There you go. I'm doing good. Right now, we're just a little bit yapping about Transformers before we actually dive into dinosaur stuff. Going over this really interesting repaint of a third-party Armada Megatron. Now, Fans Hobby did do a repaint, or not a repaint, but also they did do a figure of Armada Optimus Prime, which people have said like so many good things about it, but for me personally, I passed that up for the Hasbro Commander class Optimus Prime. I don't regret it because that particular toy, the Hasbro Armada Prime, just love it. It's good. Because now they're also going to be getting a Jetfire to go along with it. I am stoked for that. Because then we're also going to probably get... Now, like, if Jetfire does really, really good, then we'll more than likely get... Overload. So, we'll have, like, a complete powered-up Armada Prime. The only bad thing about the Armada Prime is that he doesn't come with, like, Sparkplug, his little mini-con. He doesn't come with, like... the Requiem Blaster or the Skyboom Shield or the Star Saber. No, if you want the Star Saber, you got to go get the Hasbro exclusive repaint of that, and it's just why? Just why? So next one on the list is, so this one is, what is this? Devastation Bumblebee. So this is from I want to say a pretty forgotten Transformers game called Transformers Devastation. It came out, I want to say roughly around the time after the Fall of Cybertron video game. So it's, I mean, like, it's Bumblebee. It's just Beetle Bumblebee, but they try to replicate like the cell shading in the windows like they did with the deluxe class Optimus Prime. It's, I mean, like, it sure, but I don't know how. Now see, things like Bumblebee, I don't know how well this is gonna sell, just because of like recent price hikes with Transformers. I don't know how well this is gonna sell, because Bumblebee is probably gonna be like, maybe, I want to say maybe like $25, which is steep. I again, don't quote me on that. I don't know. I flat out just do not know. But considering how tiny he is, yeah, I don't know how well this is gonna sell. Hey Dragon, how you doing? Thank you for redeeming your park entrance. So this one's also kind of cute. So this one here is like, it's a bunch of little blind bags, but these are kind of cute though. So these are like little blind bag Transformers. You have like your little classics. You have like Black Arachnia. You have like Grimlock and all that other kind of stuff. So this is kind of cute. Yeah, it's not bad. These are core tiny turbo changers. Now, this one also caught my eye because this is, I think, kind of interesting. So what this is that this is both like an upgrade kit for like, say, like any of your figures here. So like you can give like any of like your primes, like these weird like break off weapons, or if you have like the combiner, or not the combiner, but Fortress Maximus, you can give him like the, I think it's called the God Sword, his original weapon from the toy. Let's see here. Good. The weather is terrible, so my friend isn't coming over. So just play some Time Stranger. I fucking love Time Stranger. Honestly, if we run out of shit to talk about with dinosaurs, I want to play Time Stranger. I know it's a faux pas to jump into a game that I'm almost finished, but fuck it, I don't care. I'm gonna be honest, I don't care. I want to play more Time Stranger. I've also been like getting really into like Dark Souls again. I've been really getting sucked into Dark Souls. So let's see here. So, these are kind of cute too. So these are more of Doctor Wu's kind of stuff, not Doctor Who, but Doctor Wu. So these are like little mini core class / legend class Transformers, and they're cute. So we have 2 of the deluxe Insecticons, and then we have, I want to say that's Red Alert, and then I want to say that is Sunstreaker. No, I think this is Tiger Tracks. I want to say that's Tiger Tracks. So we have, that's not Venom, I think that's Bombshell, and then that's Chop Shop. So he turns into like a really cool looking stag beetle, while I think he turns into a locust. So yeah, these are, yeah, so, oh, I'm sorry, he doesn't turn into a locust, he turns into a rhino beetle. Okay, so I think this is, yeah, this is Bombshell. Because I know the cicada is Venom. But yeah, so this is, I want to say this is Bombshell, or Bomb Shock. And then this is Chop Shop. So pretty simple, pretty easy, pretty straightforward. Now, moving on to like kaiju stuff. So Big Bad Toy Store just dropped this. So this is a 2-pack of Destoroyah in its like crab form and Godzilla Jr. So this is, it looks good. Like, they really have improved on this from the original release of the original crab form of Destoroyah. Because I'm gonna be real, like, some of the, like, the Destoroyah figures, from what I have, from my personal experience, are brittle. Like, my Monster Art Destoroyah, I got the first edition, so it is brittle. Okay, it is brittle. The joints feel like glass. Especially in the wing, so this thing would probably be terrifying to pose. Now, this also comes with Destoroyah in his flying form. So these are very, very tiny. So this is Destoroyah in his final form, but this is a special color variant of when, during the final battle between him and Godzilla, where it took place at night. So this is supposed to be the quote-unquote night colors, when it's really not. It's just the proper colors. So you can recreate the scene where Godzilla tries to breathe life into Junior. So it's not bad, but the price here is... The price is really steep for what you're getting. Again, I don't know if this is really going to sell well, just because of the fact that I think people are getting really tired of Bandai shit, because a lot of their recent releases that they've been pumping out lately have been pretty decent from what I've been hearing, but it's also been a lot of like mixed bags. So from what I've been told, their Gigan is okay. The Showa era Gigan's okay. It's just brittle. Same thing with Monster X. Same thing goes for, I think it's like their Mega Gearus. And the biggest thing about it is how sloppy is the paint, because recently that's also been a QC problem that Tamashii Nations just seems to not really give a flying fuck. Because you will have the infamous derp eyes, to the point where even like in the promotional images for these figures, Tamashii Nations just does not give a shit. Like, you will see some of these promotional figures have derp eyes. Like, they just don't fucking care. And then you're asking us to pay nearly $200. Actually, no. Either just about at $200 or slightly over $200. For, what, 3 figures that are very tiny, that are uber brittle. I don't know, I can't say too much about Junior, but 3 figures that are uberly brittle, and we don't know about the QC problems. But the problem with Monster Arts is that you have that window of opportunity to order it, and if not, good luck on the aftermarket. Because typically what people want to do is that they want to sit there and wait. Especially since now, like, the promotional figure is a lot cleaner than what we actually get. But by the time that you're really wanting to, like, place a pre-order, like, oh, well, this figure looks fine. People seem to like it. I'll put a pre-order on it. It's gone. It's fucking gone. And then good luck on the aftermarket. No, seriously, good luck on the fucking aftermarket. It's horrible. So, I'll skip on this. I'm just going to go with Haya. Just for the fact that this is not worth it. This is not worth that. I'm going to be flat out honest with you. Because, like, Haya, like, these 2 figures right here would basically be on the same par as these 3 figures right here. So, this is Suko and Mothra from New Empire. So, Baby Kong and Mothra. And look at that price point. Look at that price point. That is 70, almost what? That's about $80, if not slightly over to the 90 category. For 2 figures that are actually of, like, better quality than this. So, like, Mothra here, from what it looks like, you can bend her wings, which is a godsend. Because if I remember correctly, I think I have to look at my storage, but I think I have the NECA Mothra. I believe her wings are very, very stiff. But you can't bend them. You can't bend... You sure as hell can't bend the Monster Art Mothra. You try that, it will fucking snap. And the thing with these is that Haya will actually listen to fans. They will listen to fan demands and go, okay, we'll improve it on the next release. And they do. So, again, $80 for 2 figures that are more or less the same size, as opposed to $200. Again, same everything, detail and all, but for a quarter of the price. And the same thing goes for Kong. And what they did with here, so this is Kong from Godzilla vs. King Kong. So, the thing they did with this, as opposed to what they did with Monster Art Kong, they wanted to try to do a Build-A-Figure, right? They really wanted to try to do a Build-A-Figure of this guy, which is flat out fucking impossible to do unless you got like 500 buckaroos to just slap down. Because you have to buy 5 figures that are roughly around like $100 a pop. Just to get the parts you need to recreate Kong from a new empire. But here, $50. And you get all the trimmings. Granted, this is also Godzilla vs. Kong, not New Empire Kong. But still, for everything that you get it like a decapitated Godzilla, a Mecha Godzilla head, you get interchangeable hands, faces, an axe. And mind you, this is actually far better than what I have. The Monster Art Kong. I have the Monster Art version of this. This is far better. In fact, I might actually slap a pre-order on this. This is far better than what I got. I actually feel kind of cheated. I genuinely feel kind of cheated looking at this and then looking at the Monster Art Kong. Same thing for this. This is Tiamat from New Empire. $80. But again, look at the detailing. The detailing is immaculate. Like, sure, you don't get any effect pieces. You don't. But then again, Tiamat didn't come with anything. She didn't really do much. But again, she looks phenomenal. Like, promotional, this looks phenomenal. And the best thing about Haya as opposed to Monster Art is that Haya, their promotional figures match up to what is going on in the actual like product that you get in your hand. That's the magic of Haya. So and then like Shimo. Again, this is Shimo that's going to be coming out this year. She's a big girl. Like, this is a very, very big girl. But also a quarter the price of what you're going to be getting from Monster Art. And at a far better quality. Because the Monster Art Shimo was not very good. From what people have said, like, you can like smoosh in the plastic and leave fingerprints in it. That is horrible. And they're asking like nearly $200 for it. So let's see here. So there's Godzilla. But I also want to move on here. So this one, okay, so this is kind of cute. So what this is that, so this is a third party, well, it's technically a knockoff, but it's a third party version of the Titans Return Triptychon. But it's kind of cute because this is a legend scale class figure. This is scaled down to legend size. And then you can also do what, according to I think it's like the creators of this toy, this mode is based off of Shin Godzilla's first form. This is based off of Kamada-kun. So yeah, it's really cute. You have basically all the same stuff as like regular size Triptychon, but it's just smashed down into a cute little legend, like core class / legend class little package. It's cute. And see, there you go. There's the difference. Okay, so this one's also kind of interesting. So this is a legend scale class Tarantulas from Beast Wars. I don't think I've ever heard of these people before. These are robot toys. Oh wait, I have heard of them because they have this really bomb ass depth charge that I'm really hyped for. And then a very mixed bag, smaller scaled Megatron / T-Rex. So I don't know. I don't know if I could trust it or not. So this is coming from Kang Toys. So this here is a I guess you could say like a masterpiece scaled Insecticon, but what's cool is that it's its own unique breed. in that this is a scorpion Insecticon. We've never had an Insecticon that's a scorpion. And what's really, really cool, and also it does give me some like Death Stinger Zoids kind of vibe. I'm really starting to think that people from Kang Toys must really, really love Zoids. They must really love Zoids because a lot of their Dinobots, including this, looks almost like a Zoid. But yeah, it's really cool. And fans seem to really like it. But the best thing about this is that this is probably one of the most affordable third-party figures you can find. Because even though this is like from Kang Toys, which can cost you around like $100 or more, this little guy costs about 40 bucks. That's 40 bucks. That's really good. That's really good. Like, in fact, actually all the Insecticons are like that. So, like, you can get their Rhino Beetle. You can get their Rhino Beetle, their Scorpion, or my personal favorite, which is the Stag Beetle, for like 40 bucks. That is nuts. You can buy 3 of these guys, and it will cost the same amount as one of their Dinobots. That is bananas. And this is why I love third party. This is why I absolutely love third party. And this one's, speaking of third party, this one's also really, really cute. So this is like a chibi style, Bruticus. It looks really cute. And then there's also like a little teaser for their Volcanicus, so their Dinobot combiner. So yeah, no, like it's pretty adorable. There's really not much to say about it. And then we have Unique Toys Bumblebee. We went over this. Yeah, we can skip that. But yeah, that's the Unique Toys Bumblebee. We have a teaser for Tigerhawk, a little chibi style Tigerhawk, done by, I believe this is the same people that are doing the chibi style Beast Wars Megatron. Yeah. And this is really cute. I might pick it up just because this is ridiculously adorable. This is genuinely so fucking cute. And then we have, I think we went over this one as well. So this is another third-party combiner Grimlock. Yeah, so this is like another third-party Grimlock. And it looks really freaking gnarly. That head sculpt for Volcanicus looks absolutely diabolical. Like, genuinely looks diabolical. I love this. So this one kind of caught my eye a little bit. So this is a, I feel like this is a reference to something, but like, so this here is a completely translucent or transparent red Scorponok from Beast Wars. Done by the same people that I mentioned earlier. So this is done by Robot Toys. Yeah, Robot Toys. And it's, I mean, like, it's not bad. I mean, like, it's Scorponok. Right? It's Beast Wars Scorponok, but he's like clear red. That head sculpt looks really nice because that's his mutant head. Yeah, that's his mutant head. But yeah, no, like, it doesn't look bad. It looks clean. It looks very, very clean. Because that is the typical, or not typical, but standard Scorponok. So, just depends on like which one you want. So, that being said, okay, so with the toy talking out of the way, finally. So I guess now we can kind of move on to like talking about dinosaurs. So basically, oh, there we go. So one of the things I was kind of like thinking about today was that I really wanted to kind of talk about sauropods, because I think sauropods are really fascinating, like species of dinosaurs, because they have like this really bonkers ass evolution, because they go from like herbivores that are no bigger than a human to like literal walking kaiju. Like sauropods are so fucking fascinating to me. But yeah, so like I don't know too much about sauropods, if I'm gonna be honest. I know a little bit about them. It's not my expertise. I think my friend Dino Diego now, he might actually know a little bit more about sauropods than I probably would. But I'm gonna take a quick little bathroom break, and then when we get back, we'll watch some stuff about some sauropods, and then afterwards, I'm not sure. Maybe we'll play some more Digimon. I'm not sure, but I'll be right back, guys, because I really gotta fucking pee. Okay, chat. Okay. Let's get comfy. All right, let's get comfy. All right, so. Okay, so this is
traits of dinosaurs.
So this is, let me see here real quick. So this is Animal Origins, the evolution of sauropods. So let's take a look here. Okay. So 3, 2, 1, go.
One of the hallmark traits of dinosaurs that make them such a legendary group of animals has to do with their size. And among the dinosaurs, the largest were the sauropods.
Yeah, because like if you think about like even just like the smallest dinosaurs, right? Like not even counting like, you know, avian dinosaurs like birds, right? Like in terms of reptiles, yeah, no, dinosaurs are kind of big. But they're also like really, really freaky too.
These behemoths towered over their surroundings throughout the Mesozoic and lived for over 100
Thank you for the hydration.
million years, becoming one of the most prolific groups of dinosaurs. But where did these animals come from? And why and how did they get so big? No, seriously, the last time I studied dinosaurs, I was in the 5th grade. So let's get ready to
investigate so like
the evolution of sauropods together.
Yeah, so the reason why sauropods got so damn big uh, air sacs. Like their bodies were or not completely, but they had a lot of like air sacs in their bodies that allowed them to grow this big. Like this is gigantism on fucking steroids.
To find the origin of sauropods, we have to go back to the late Triassic period, shortly after the evolution of the first dinosaurs. It's generally agreed upon that the ancestors of the sauropods were part of a group of dinosaurs known as Saurischia, or the lizard-hipped dinosaurs.
Okay.
This group also consisted of theropod dinosaurs, including the birds, as well as some other early dinosaurs such as Herrerasaurus.
Yeah, so fun.
The latter of which I wish.
Yeah, so fun fact is that birds are technically considered to be Saurischians. Lizard-hip dinosaurs. Despite the fact that they are birds, their hip bones are more inclined for like other Saurischian dinosaurs.
For the longest time was just a type of non-bred. There are other interpretations.
Tawa does kind of sound like it.
Such as the Ornithoscelida hypothesis, where there were no traditional Saurischian groups at all, and instead theropods would have been more closely related to Ornithischia, the order containing everything from Stegosaurus to Ceratopsians to Ankylosaurus, with the two orders together forming Ornithoscelida. The sauropods, as a result, would be a distant sister lineage to this larger clade. I could go on further talking about the different interpretations on the origins of dinosaurs, and while dinosaur lore is something that definitely pumps me up, for now let's just assume that sauropod ancestors were part of Saurischia and move on. Now these ancestors are known as the sauropodomorphs, and first evolved during the early part of the late Triassic, known as the Carnian.
I want to say, like, if I remember correctly, I think I think one of their earliest ancestors actually like ate meat. Like it was originally like a carnivore.
Like most dinosaurs at the time they first evolved, the earliest sauropodomorphs weren't all that large, capping out at around 2.5 meters.
Yeah, Thecodonosaurus is a good example.
In addition, these animals were also bipedal. Looking at some of the earliest sauropodomorphs, such as Saturnalia, Panphagia, Guabisaurus, and Borealestes, you'd be forgiven for believing that these...
Yeah, because, like, okay, looking at that, you would not think that's a fucking sauropodomorph. That kind of looks more of like a coelophysid.
Animals were ancestors of the more carnivorous theropod dinosaurs known for walking on two legs. In fact, one famous sauropodomorph, Eoraptor, was thought for the longest time to be an early theropod, but now is classified by many as also being a basal sauropodomorph.
Really?
Despite their similarities to other dinosaurs.
Hi, Topaz, how you doing?
Sauropodomorph showed a couple of...
Wait, hold up, Eoraptor. Wait, hold up for a second. Eoraptor. Wait, is it really? Hang on, let me take a look at this. Because I've heard the name Eoraptor before. Eoraptor. Was it really? Let's see here. Yeah. Yes, it is. What the fuck? Yeah, no, that is a... When did it become a sauropodomorph? Was described in 1993. Classification 1995. Posted the Eoraptor was the theropod. Blah 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 blah. The following phylogenetic illustrations of the relationship of the Eoraptor among major theropod groups based on some introduction in the 2010s. In their 2025 description of the early sauropodomorphs based on blah 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 blah. Oh, so I guess it was like relatively recently. Really? Found out there was a... Really? That's kind of cool.
Distinguishing traits that set them apart from the rest of Saurischia. This includes possessing a smaller head compared to its body, and necks that are much longer than those of other dinosaurs.
That's actually kind of interesting.
That would only become magnified as this group further evolved throughout the Mesozoic. In addition, these dinosaurs had tall leaf-shaped teeth
that's cool,
with multiple
Topaz.
tentacles or tooth-like projections. This type of dentition was well suited for consuming foliage, but the earliest sauropodomorphs, such as Panphagia, were omnivorous. On the subject of their teeth, these dinosaurs
That's
were also known
tiny.
for having what's known as a wraparound overbite, where their lower set of teeth fit completely within their upper set of teeth. As the Triassic progressed, the world...
Yeah, so like I want to say alligators have that. Specifically alligators. They have a wraparound overbite. I could be wrong about that one, but like if memory serves me right, I believe alligators do have the wraparound overbite while crocodiles don't. because crocodile teeth are all exposed. Whereas, got your boy Seadramont. Nice, let's go, dragon.
See a rapid increase in wetness and humidity, leading to the growth
We're talking about sauropods.
of many species of plants. With this abundance of foliage, especially ones that are in high-to-reach places, the long-necked sauropodomorphs dipping their feet more and more into herbivory began to see an abundance of food sources that they could take advantage of.
Yeah, it's really fucking weird when you see like herbivory in dinosaur lineages where there's really where it really shouldn't be, because there is a herbivore in the, I think it's like the Ceratosauridae family. It's either that or like an abelosaur, but it's really fucking weird.
Eventually, these dinosaurs began evolving to larger sizes, leading to what would eventually be known as the prosauropods. Prosauropods.
So those are like
platyus.
Yep, so like Platyosaurus.
With some, such as Platyosaurus, growing up to be 10 meters or almost 33 feet long and weighing in at 4.4 tons or 8,800 pounds.
Kind of,
It was
yeah.
with animals such as Platyosaurus that we can finally see the blueprint for what would become the iconic long-necked giants of the dinosaur
Yeah,
world.
Platyosaur
Even
kind of
still,
already
these
was like,
prosauropods
was
retain some
like-
of their more big
yeah, so like Platyosaurus was already kind of like setting down like the blueprints of what will become, because like sauropods are really fascinating creatures because of the fact that for the most part they just kept getting bigger. I mean, yes, there have been some smaller examples of sauropods, but for the most part sauropods typically just got bigger and bigger. Because now we have things like Sauroposeidon, we have Argentinosaurus, we have I think most of them are in the Titanosauridae family. Yeah, kind of, yeah. Hell, like even in like their respective environments, they're always like super huge. Like even whenever they have like dwarfism, those sauropods are still relatively big compared to the rest of their environment.
basal Sauriskian traits, such as general bipedalism, even though their central
I wouldn't say that per se, Topaz. It's more of like just as like a species, or yeah, just as like a species, sauropods just kept growing. They just kept evolving into bigger creatures like Brachiosaurus or Giraffatitan or Dreadnoughtus or I think Supersaurus is still a thing, because like there are some sauropods that are kind of now just known as dubious taxona, like Ultrasaurus and Seismosaurus. Those are now lumped into like the Brachiosaur family and the Diplodocus. Or like even like Saurophaganax, because Saurophaganax was basically broken up into two animals, where the animal that actually got the name Saurophaganax was a sauropod, and then the Allosaurus that we originally thought was Saurophaganax got a whole nother name.
drifted more towards the front. In addition, many prosauropods like the aforementioned Platyosaurus and Massapondylus showed front limbs that had grasping abilities like their ancestors, even with a more forward-oriented stance.
Bro, your
Of
heart
course, there were some prosauropods, such as
constant need to intake
Rhedosaurus,
fuel.
that showed
Yes,
signs of living a
no,
long
exactly.
quadrupedal lifestyle. In addition to this,
Like, I can't imagine like what it would be like to be in an environment with sauropods, because they could strip the vegetation from trees, and considering that they basically live in mass herds, yeah, you can kind of see that wherever there's a sauropod herd, there will probably be a barren like forest, just about.
a later prosauropod known as Afrasia was known to have made another anatomical advancement in the evolution of small cheeks. As the Triassic
Really?
began to come to a close,
didn't know
leading
sauropods
into
had
the
cheeks.
Jurassic period, more advanced prosauropods began developing new characteristics such as an even more quadrupedal lifestyle, smaller heads, longer necks, and a much bigger general body size. These advantages allowed these dinosaurs to browse higher
Which
places.
obviously they kind of took up the environmental niche of like high grazing herbivore, like say giraffes, but on steroids.
For foliage and defend against predators with their massively growing size.
Because for the most part, like most sauropods, especially most sauropods, I believe like during like towards the end of the Cretaceous, like there really wasn't a whole lot that could kill them, or it would take a lot of effort just to bring them down. Like sauropods some sauropods get massive. Like I remember going to the Fernbank Museum one day, and I saw granted, it was a replica, but it was a replica of Argentinosaur, which is one of the most largest sauropods to have ever existed. And I will let you know, just being near that, it felt really, really humbling because you felt so tiny. You felt like uncomfortably tiny next to it.
Comes to looking more like the sauropods we're more familiar with, dinosaurs such as Leonorosaurus of Argentina and Unanosaurus of China saw their center of gravity shift even further, and it was clear to see that these dinosaurs were leaving their ancestral mode of bipedalism behind. Then there are some genera, such as Melanosaurus from South Africa, that looked so similar to sauropods that the line between what could be considered a prosauropod or a
It was like blurred
and
like
an
a
actual
lot.
member of the order Sauropoda begins to get blurry. But soon enough, the first true sauropods saw their entrance into the fossil record. Alright, now I said we'd be covering the true sauropods, but as you know, that's also a subject for debate. One of the groups argued to be the most basal sauropods is the clade Lesmosauриdae, which dates back 228 million years ago. Under here we can find genera such as
Lesmosaurus
and Antinotetris that look strikingly similar to the prosauropods we mentioned earlier, even sharing traits such as having forelimbs with digits that had twists.
And the one thing I've noticed with these as well is that, for the most part, it seems like most sauropods kind of kept like a little bit of a spiked thumb. Whenever, like, even some of the biggest sauropods have like this little thumb or like this little like claw.
Twisting and grasping capabilities. On the other hand, dinosaurs like Antinotetris had clear traits of sauropods.
Also, welcome back from
such as
Ad Break
not only
Baby Gel,
having a
everybody.
quadrupedal lifestyle, but also having far longer forelimbs than its hind limbs, with all its bones becoming thicker in order to support a greater weight. While some researchers like Peldetti et al. Put Lesmosauриdae under Sauropoda in 2018, others like Oliver W. M. Rauhaut and colleagues in 2020 separate Lesmosauриdae and put the dinosaur as part of that group as sister to the lines containing sauropods. Now we like to call people like that haters, since the idea of sauropods being around since the Triassic sounds awesome. Following dinosaurs,
Well, yeah, I mean, like,
came the
well, yeah, because like sauropods are like one of the most like long-lived like dinosaur species, if I remember correctly.
containing even more developed sauropod dinosaurs.
That okay, okay, that is a badass name, Volcanodon. That is a really badass name for a dinosaur.
Gravisaurs made some changes to sauropod physiology, such as losing the fleshy cheek and overbite present in previous members, as well as having their teeth changed from protrusion-filled leaf-shaped ones to teeth that lacked denticles and were spoon-shaped. In addition, their jaws now had the ability to open far wider than before. These changes helped the sauropods engage in new modes of feeding referred to as
honestly
browsing,
like
these dinosaurs
meeting like
despite
a
not
baby
quantum
sauropod would be
immediately
so
swallow
fucking
without chewing
cute.
or processing it in their mouths. This would allow them to more quickly consume larger and larger amounts of food, leading to their growth as a group. Interestingly enough, this mode of feeding is also prevalent among Reddit moderators.
Ha!
These new sauropods also lost the flexibility in their limbs.
Actually, sir, it's not Redditor mods, it's fucking Discord mods, thank you.
With their limbs now looking much more like rigid columns. These new leg structures would help stabilize and hold up the ever-growing sauropods.
Get your facts right, sir.
Of sauropods known as the Eusauropoda. These sauropods grew to be even bigger and had even longer necks with more proportionally smaller heads. Speaking of necks, it's been thought for a while that some sauropods would have held their necks horizontally. Recently, however, scientists have begun speculating that much like earlier depictions, sauropods would have generally held their head up vertically.
I can kind of see that a little bit more.
Amniotes, that is, all tetrapods evolving from amphibians such as reptiles, birds, and mammals, all share a neck structure that is both vertical and curved. As a kid, I personally hated this depiction of dinosaurs such as Diplodocus and Argentinosaurus and found it goofy looking, so on a purely selfish level, this is a huge W. In addition,
honestly, this
parts of their vertebrae,
this honestly would make a lot more sense that their necks postured like this. Hang on. Oh, there we go.
This would overall lighten up the weight of the animal to counterbalance their larger sizes. Some early Eusauropods include Spinophorosaurus.
Okay, I also really
from China and Barapasaurus from.
So what's really cool about some of these dinosaurs, like Shonosaurus and everything, is that these are sauropods with like clubbed tails. Like we'll start to see things later on, like say like the Titanosaurs, where They're sauropods that are covered in body armor. When I say like sauropods get a little weird, they do get weird. But it's also really cool at the same time.
China, and Barapasaurus from India, with these dinosaurs measuring in at 13 meters and weighing over 7 tons. Fun fact, the former two dinosaurs were thought to have had a spiked club, similar to the ones we see in Ankylosaurus. Following these first eusauropods came an incredible radiation of sauropod forms that evolved throughout the Jurassic and Cretaceous. Many of these dinosaurs
I really love, like, I think one of my favorite sauropods is, where are they at?
Radiation of sauropod forms that evolved throughout the
these ones right here, things like Amargasaurus and Bahatosaurus, because they just have these really just wacky ass displays on their necks. Like, so Amargasaurus has these long, like, neck spot, these almost like sails that you would see on like things like Dimetrodon, Adaphosaurus, and like Spinosaurus. Whereas Bahatosaurus kind of did the same thing, except they're all spikes. They're all spikes, except they actually curve and face forward.
Jurassic and Cretaceous.
That, to me, I think that would probably make me piss my pants. Whereas a Marcosaurus would make me go, oh, that's really kind of cool. If I see Bahatosaurus coming at me, lowering its head and showing off all of those lovely little, like, neck spines and everything, oh yeah, no, I am 100% going to be pissing myself.
Many of these dinosaurs might be familiar to you, and are all classified under Neosauropoda. Neosauropods had a few new evolutionary features they brought to the table. This included teeth being concentrated near the front of their mouths, allowing them to easily crop more food when feeding, as well as a large nasal region. Neosauropoda itself branched off into two.
Yeah, thinking like how loud these things would be too.
The Diplodocoidea and the Macronaria. Beginning with the Diplodocoidea, these dinosaurs were known to have had pencil-shaped teeth and snouts that were squared off at the front.
And these are like your typical sauropods, like what you think of when you hear sauropod.
And Dicraeosauridae. These two lineages are grouped together as Flagellocaudida, meaning tail whips. Of course, this references one of the key characteristics of these dinosaurs,
is that they have a whip.
Tails. Studies have shown that these tails could actually be able to whip fast enough to break the sound barrier, truly making them.
Yeah, just to like just keep that in mind, like a tail that can crack like a whip and then also break the sound barrier. Now, imagine you are an Allosaurus and you're trying to make a meal out of this thing. Yeah, you're either gonna not have a jaw or you're not gonna have a head.
Whips, and that they could be used in self-defense. There are some detractors to these claims, but I'm just gonna ignore them, because as we all know, science should serve to make things look as cool as possible, as opposed to being accurate.
Goddamn right.
Whipping an Allosaurus unconscious with your giant tail. There are a few more features that these sauropods possessed that were unique for sauropods, including forelimbs that were a lot shorter than their hind limbs. The Dicraeosauridae in particular were also known for having a comparatively shorter neck. As a result, these dinos would have fed on plants that grew far lower. This family is also known to have contained some of the most interesting looking sauropods.
Which, okay, so like, if we're gonna go by like modern mammal kind of like analogies, so if something like, say, Brachiosaurus was like a giraffe, right? These little buggers right here would kind of, I guess you could say, would kind of be the equivalent of like, say, an okapi. Something that is still relatively tall, but it wouldn't really be like reaching any of like the top branches. You know what I mean?
Such as Amargasaurus and Dicraeosaurus, both of whom had long.
Dicraeosaurus, that's what they're called. Dicraeosauridae.
The second family here, Diplodocidae, contains some of the most famous of all sauropods, such as Diplodocus, and one of the most famous of all dinosaurs, Brontosaurus, who recently beat the allegations as being seen as the same species as the closely related Apatosaurus.
That is so wild to think that we actually put a nail in that coffin, where for the longest time, because like I remember when I was a kid, I remember the debate of whether or not Apatosaurus and Brontosaurus were a thing. And it's like it's kind of like Nanotyrannus and like juvenile Tyrannosaurus Rex, or Stygimoloch and Dracorex and Pachycephalosaurus. Like, for the longest time, those two names were interchangeable with one another because they were basically one and the same dinosaur. Now, we live in an age where, no, they're two separate creatures. They're just very closely related.
These dinosaurs had even longer
I think it's like the equivalent of like a chimpanzee and a bonobo. They look the same, but they're different.
tails than the Dicraeosaurs, as well as longer necks as well. Moving on to the branch sister to Flagellocaudida.
These are cool. Like, what's this, Rabachisaurus? This is another one that I believe I saw at, or was it Nigersaurus? I can't remember. But it was like this really weird, like, sauropod dinosaur I remember seeing at the Fernbank Museum. It's a really interesting animal because of the fact that it has this almost like a vacuum like duck build for something like this. It's a really weird animal.
These unusual dinosaurs were known to have had faces that face straight down with flared out snouts with teeth lining the front. This can be seen in sauropods such as, and for future reference to everyone, this is how the dinosaur's name is pronounced.
It's Niger.
Nigerosaurus, which had 500
Niger.
teeth. Let's now move on to Macronaria. Macronaria means big noses, and as such, one key feature of these sauropods.
Okay, so this is an interesting dinosaur. So this here is Brachiosaurus, or what we know as Brachiosaurus from the Jurassic Park franchise. So what we know as Brachiosaurus is not really Brachiosaurus. So the Brachiosaurus in Jurassic Park is a member of the family, but it's not Brachiosaurus. It is a dinosaur known as Giraffatitan. Now, the difference between the two is that, yes, Brachiosaurus did have the nasal bump that it's supposedly known for. But, hi Sarah, how you doing? I'm doing good. Right now we're yapping about dinosaurs. But, so the differences between Giraffatitan and Brachiosaurus is that Brachiosaurus' nasal snout, or nasal bump, is not as pronounced as Giraffatitan. Giraffatitan is the one that you think of when you hear the name Brachiosaurus.
Generis. A more basal macronarian is the
Camarasaurus.
Camarasaurus, and yeah, these dinosaurs certainly look like they had big sniffers. But this dinosaur falls outside.
You gotta think like how loud these things would be.
Together under the Titanosauriforms. These dinosaurs were known for having even bigger snouts, with nares on top of their skulls, and longer necks. Titanosauriforms can be broken up into 3 clades. Now the first of these clades is the Brachiosauridae.
Raid
Zakama, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome in, everyone. Dino Raid, how's it going, everybody? How are we all doing today? How's it going, everyone? I am Grotto Brown. I am a T-Rex VTuber. I am a variety streamer. I do like yapping about some things. I do model kit building. I also do some gaming. But I do like yapping about things like dinosaurs, Kamen Riders, Zoids, Transformers, because we just got done talking about Transformers. We also got done talking about Godzilla stuff as well, because I am, hang on, let me make sure I got this. I think I got, oh my god, I fucking shout outs, I swear to god. Okay, sorry about that, everyone. But yes, I am a variety streamer. I like yapping about things, and right now we are yapping about sauropod evolution. How was your stream, Zakama? What'd you do? Hang on real quick. I don't think I have any of my mods here today. Hang on. Give me a second here. Hang on. Give me a second here. I think I got it. Wait, hang on. There we go. I think that's right. There we go. Let's see here. I was drawing a friend. Ooh! Okay, okay, I gotta know. What race are they? What race are they in D&D? Because for me, my go-to D&D race is Dragonborn. I love playing as a Dragonborn, and I do love being a Dragonborn Paladin. If it's not a Dragonborn Paladin, then it's a lizard folk Paladin. Either way, I'm a Paladin. I love being the good guy.
Also had highly elongated forelimbs. The best-known brachiosaurid is Brachiosaurus, who share a similar environment to other sauropods such as Brontosaurus, Camarasaurus, and Diplodocus.
That checks out.
My favorite dinosaur of all time. It's so cool.
They're an aquatic. Ooh, I've never seen an aquatic goblin before. But also, Zaka, if you do need to raid and dash and take care of yourself, I completely understand. Like, thank you for trusting me with the community. I do love me some Dragonborn Paladins. Yeah. No, like not a lot of people do them. Yeah, not a lot of people do Dragonborn Paladins, but I do. I love being the just the lawful good, which is funny because like if anyone who knows me, I am a absolute like chaotic gremlin. But yeah, so this is what I was talking about. So this is what we think of when we see the name Brachiosaurus. But this here is Giraffatitan. Giraffatitan. Again, Brachiosaurus did have this large nasal bump. However, it wasn't as nearly as pronounced. I had a Dragonborn Paladin Barb Cross. Okay, hear me out. Okay, elusive. You just like triggered something in me because I thought about this idea. I just thought about this idea. Here's the thing. What if you combine a necromancer and a bard? And it's big, but also make it like decked out as like Day of the Dead. That would be really fucking cool. That would be really cool. Like an undead, like have like and have him like dress up as like a mariachi singer. That would be sick. You gotta admit that would be cool as hell. I just thought of that. It's something that I've always wanted to give it a try. Oh yeah, no, like okay, so like I'm usually not like a bard guy, right? I'm genuinely not a fucking bard guy because I have all of the riz of a fucking stone. Like ask anybody. Like hang on. Like honestly, ask anybody. I have the riz of a fucking baseball bat. But like if I ever wanted to go bard, I want to give that a try. I really do. And maybe have him give him like a guitar or something like that and he could play it and it summons like the dead. I think that'd be so fucking sick. But like the only other class I ever tried outside of the only other class that I tried outside of Paladin was that I tried being a wizard, but it was a joke character.
Raid.
Oh my god. Hi, Peachy. Oh my god, double raid today. How's it going, everyone? How's it going? How's it going, everyone? I'm Graro Brown. I'm a T-Rex VTuber. I am a variety streamer. I yap about a lot of things like dinosaurs, Kamen Rider, Zoids, Gundam, Tokusatsu, Godzilla, Transformers, and stuff like that. Warhammer. I'm also a huge Warhammer fan. But how is your stream, Peachy? And guys, if you don't know who Miss Peachy is, please go check her. Miss Peachy's such a fucking cutie. Like, let's be honest here. Peachy's such a cutie. Please go give her a follow. Let me see here. But how was your stream, Peachy? What'd you do? We were talking about dinosaurs. Then we're all going on a tangent about D&D because I haven't played D&D in such a fucking long time. Played Animal Crossing Villager. Ooh. I haven't touched Animal Crossing in a very long time. I believe the last time I touched Animal Crossing was Animal Crossing. I want to say it was whatever was the new Animal Crossing for the Switch is the last thing I touched. We compromised on a different villager that I want. Oh wait, what was the villager? I have to see like what villagers. I have to see what villagers I have. I haven't touched it in a long time. I'm sure my trees are like overgrown because I do remember I did plant a lot of things. I didn't get very far. I mean, like shit. The last time I popped into Animal Crossing, all the villagers had houses. I was still in a tent. Swear to God. True story. I had the Tempest Cleric, Bronze, Dragonborn, all of the Lightning. Okay, I need to try that. Oh, Peachy, I gotta see this. DM me what this looks like, because a Galaxy Squirrel sounds fucking awesome. Also, that is one Dragonborn class I have not tried. I haven't tried that one, so I always go for fire. I always go for the fire one just because I love the cone, like just the fucking cone breath ability. But before I got raided, I was telling like this story how I played a wizard. So the wizard that I played as, his name was Man Dick the Slightly Impressive. And so basically I lost a bet, right? I lost a bet. I think it was on a sports team. This is why I never play any bets, everybody. This is why if you want a good chance of winning against me, say that you challenge me to a bet. But so the wizard that I played at, his name was Man Dick the Slightly Impressive. And so and I had to talk in a very bad Christopher Walken accent for the entire campaign. It was funny. But basically I had to put all of my skills into luck and charisma, and his magic skills were awful. So he would one-shot things just by sheer dumb luck. I remember I actually one-shot a dragon. In a campaign, I actually one-shot a dragon. Just by sheer Tom and Jerry tomfoolery. That is a crazy name, yes. Yes, it is. He had a brother, his name was Dickman, the actual impressive. So you had Mad Dick and Dickman. I love it. Yeah, no. One of these days, if I ever want to play D&D again, I really do want to bring back Man Dick. But I gotta make sure people are okay with addressing someone by the name of Man Dick. I think I got the name after listening to Filthy Frank. I honestly believe I got the name Mandic from like listening to a bunch of Filthy Frank songs back in the day. Because also I'm gonna be real, I fucking love Filthy Frank. I miss Papa Franco. I mean, we got Joji, but he's no Papa Franco. Peachy, I just saw. Oh my god, that's so pretty. What the hell? That's so pretty. Okay, I'm honestly loving the stars. I'm loving the stars in the in their tail. Hang on, let me share this real quick. Chat, I want you to look at this because this is really fucking pretty. It's really pretty, chat. Hang on, let me see here. I swear we'll get back to dinosaurs. But like chat, look how pretty that is. That is a very pretty squirrel. I love this squirrel. That actually, Peachy, you just reminded me. I need to bother my friend Daylight and be like, see, this is a proper squirrel. This is a squirrel, Dalek. All right, let me see here. Yeah, it's so pretty. Yeah, no, I love it. Okay, like for me, I am a big fan. Oh, by the way, that is something. Thank you, Nightbot. Thank you. So I also want to mention that I did fix my waifu wear stuff because, yes, I am an affiliate with Waifu Wares. Use my code Grarl Brown at checkout for 50% off, and also now I do have the chat command code. Use !waifu to take you directly to Waifu Wares. I finally got my lazy ass around to fixing that damn thing. But no, like, I honestly love it. I love like galaxy or ethereal like styled like anything. You know what actually, okay, Peachy, you know what actually would make this squirrel like even better? You know what would actually make this squirrel design even better? Throw in some. Hang on, let me see if I can find that thing again. Like, it's already like really pretty and I love it. But like, okay, so what I would do if it were me designing this thing, what I would do to make it a little bit better, I would add a little bit of like magenta and a little bit of pink. Mainly like in the tail. Like add a magenta and a pink gradient in the tail. maybe at the base of the tail going up into the little swirl. But that's what I would do. Like really, really hammer in on like the Yeah. See, no, like that's exactly what I would do. Yeah, that would be really pretty. Yeah, like at the base of the tail, going up maybe a little bit towards like the big old pomp of the tail, and I don't know, maybe have like a little bit of like pink and magenta stars or spots on him. Like just really, really home in on that, because like, okay, I really love the bright blue, the really, really bright blue socks he's got going on. Because like I said, I'm a big slut for those kind of aesthetics. I really am. I love that like nighttime ethereal, dreamy kind of thing. It's also why, like, okay, he's not my favorite chaos god. He's not my favorite chaos god, but I really love Zinch. Actually, no, I take it back. No, it's either that or Nurgle. Funny enough, it's either that or Nurgle are my favorite chaos gods. But I would say, Zinch. One of the reasons why I love Zinch is his color schemes, is because he has that really, really pretty, like ethereal, like swirls of like pink, blue, magenta, with like stars and gradients and stuff. Like, it's really, really pretty. It's really pretty, and I love that. But, sorry for the tangent, everybody. Sorry for the tangent.
Such as Sidarasaurus.
Back to dinosaurs.
The next group up is the Euhalopodidae, containing more long-necked giants that lived during the Cretaceous, such as Eurikidu. I don't really have much more to say about them, so I guess, yeah. The final clade here is Titanosauria. So
Titanosauria are like the type of dinosaurs that have like, the group of dinosaurs that have like some of the largest ever recorded land animals, including things like Argentinosaurus, Alamosaurus, and I think Titanosaurus itself.
Phylogeny is expansive and convoluted, to the point where Titanosaurs themselves could warrant a separate video. But these sauropods were the largest of all dinosaurs.
Also, I think
included behemoths such as the
and I think Dreadnoughtus, I believe, is also a Titanosaurus.
South American Argentinosaurus.
Like I said, with this, hang on. Let me go back. Yeah, so I was at the Fernbank Museum over in Georgia one time, and it was a magical fucking experience. Don't regret it. Do not regret it, for the fact that I got to see a replica of an Argentinosaurus skeleton next to a Giganotosaurus skeleton. And I will say this, though, is that being next to even just the replica of Argentinosaurus, it is a very humbling experience, just because of just how small you are. Yeah, like just how small you are next to the skeleton. Even just the femur, it really makes you realize just how tiny humans are.
Humans such as the South American Argentinosaurus and Patagotitan. Now, a little fun fact about the latter one. I went to the Natural History Museum with my dad a couple of months ago, and there's like this giant skeleton, this giant fossil of Patagotitan, and it like goes through like 5 different rooms.
Titanosaurs are huge.
Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, I was just walking, and you got this thing's neck stretching out all over into like the marine mammals section or something. Oh my!
Like, it is, it's kind of nuts.
Actually crazy. Like, that is like an actual test pump right there. I was like, yo, this is so cool. Like, I'm gonna like
that right there. Okay, like, I'm not gonna lie, like seeing like a Patagotitan doing that kind of stuff, like just seeing like a Patagotitan stretched out from like room to room, that will honestly trigger my fucking autism. Like, already talking about dinosaurs already triggers my autism something fucking fierce. Because, yeah, hi, I'm a dinosaur enthusiast, and also I am a dinosaur VTuber. Haha, it's funny.
I'm gonna like bench, like, I don't know, even like 85 pounds. I was so pumped up.
Yeah, no, like, honestly, seeing something that massive, yeah, I'm definitely gonna be going to the gym, and I'm gonna be pumping too. No, like, honestly, that will make me trigger the, oh, hell yeah, part of my autism.
There are also titanosaurs that are known to have possessed armor.
Yeah, so this is really cool. So, also, let's go, Dragon, let's go. So So this is kind of cool too. So we do have evidence that shows that there are sauropods out there that have things like body armor, which I think is really interesting, but also kind of terrifying to know that there are predators out there that gave these dinosaurs such grief to where they actually had to develop body armor just to protect themselves. Also, fun fact about dinosaur body armor, the Stegosaurus has throat body armor. Like, its throat section is armored. That is fucking wild.
Such as Saltosaurus and the other dinosaurs under its clade, Lithostrotia. Titanosaurs were not only the largest dinosaurs to have ever lived, but also some of the last.
Yep.
Alamosaurus of the late Cretaceous shared.
Yeah, so this is something that would have gone toe-to-toe with T-Rexes. Now, I feel like Tyrannosaurs probably did hunt these things, but it wouldn't be very likely. Not at all. I don't think like a Tyrannosaurus would actually go seeking out an Alamosaurus to hunt down because, well, one, I believe like a single Alamosaurus could probably feed an entire family of Rexes for probably like a couple of months without any scavengers. Maybe if you, well, that sucks, Dragon. I'm sorry, but like maybe like a few months. Not a few months, but maybe like 3 months at a time. But also, yeah, they're just way too damn big.
Its environment with Tyrannosaurus rex, and the two would both face the great extinction that wiped out the dinosaurs 66 million years ago. Sauropods
But it also just kind of shows you just how giant. It kind of also just shows you just how giant the late Cretaceous period was, because we had things like like Triceratops, Torosaurs, what is it? I think it's like Eotriceratops, which is like a slightly bigger relative of Triceratops. We have things like Tyrannosaurus Rex, bit bopping around, as well as things like Quetzalcoatlus and I believe Hazagopteryx, which are two of the largest flying anything that we know of. Not only that, but we had things like Archelon, which is, I believe, the largest turtle to have ever existed. Like, the turtle is the size of a Volkswagen Beetle. You could literally ride on this thing as a vehicle. I want you to understand that. But you also have things like Mosasaurus. And what's even more terrifying about Mosasaurus is that Mosasaurs didn't stick to the ocean. They did not stick to the ocean. There are evidence that show that some mosasaurs also were in fresh water. That is horrifying. To think that, like, if you're some thirsty dinosaur taking a drink in a lake or a river, and it's all lottie fucking da, oh, I just dodged a bullet. I just dodged a fucking tyrannosaur. I'm just gonna go have a little sippy sip down to the fucking lake bed. Out of nowhere comes a decently sized water lizard coming out and pulling you under the water like a fucking orca. That's terrifying. Let's not even count the things like giant crocodiles like Dinosuchus. A giant crocodile that can go toe to toe with T-Rex.
The absolute limits of life on land.
Also like Edmontosaurus. I want to paint a picture of what an Edmontosaurus is. Picture a bison got smashed together with a slightly smaller elephant, add lizard traits to it, and then give it a duck bill. That's Edmontosaurus. It was slightly bigger than if not the same size, if not slightly bigger than a T-Rex. That was the Tyrannosaurus Rex main food supply. A single Edmontosaurus could pretty much feed a Rex for probably a week. Like, things around the end of the dinosaurs were fucking nuts.
Before, and no animals.
Also, Quetzalcoatlus and Hazagopteryx were basically the equivalent of a fighter jet gained sentience. Because they were the size of a fighter jet. I'm not kidding. It is basically what would happen if a fighter jet fucked a giraffe and somehow fucked a wood stork. and that baby got put into a blender, that is a Quetzalcoatlus and a Hatzegopteryx.
Have managed to match their gargantuan proportions. These dinosaurs have captured the hearts of people all over the world and stand alongside other dinosaurs such as Tyrannosaurus and Triceratops as emblems of prehistoric life.
So, okay. So, it's a good thing that we brought this little doodad up. So this scene is from Prehistoric Planet. I think this is Prehistoric Planet season 2, where they showed off the Dreadnoughtus. I do not think that Dreadnoughtus had these multiple air sacs where it can inflate like that. I don't think that is a thing that they could do. Now, do I think they probably fought each other like, say, like giraffes where they just kind of necked each other? Probably. And also maybe biting, because more than likely that's probably what they did. Now, the other thing that I thought of, and it's kind of horrifying to think of, is the fact that, like animals today, plant-eating dinosaurs probably ate meat too. We do have evidence that show that hadrosaurs did eat crabs, and it's very plausible that things like sauropods probably did eat meat as well. Probably not as often, because there's a lot of plant life in the Mesozoic era, but it would probably be a thing that would happen from time to time, where a sauropod that needed, say, protein or calcium, because all animals do need protein some way or another. And plants can only give you so much, that they probably did snack on the occasional, like maybe unfortunate small pterosaur, or, small dinosaur, or snake, or bird, or bug, or something like that. Basically, they had to get the protein from somewhere. And just the idea of these walking towers probably snacking on like a small dinosaur, like just plucking them up from the ground and just eating them, is kind of horrifying. Especially when you realize that most of these sauropods, they don't chew their food. They swallow them, and then they swallow stones that help grind their food. So you're in the belly of this walking mountain, getting burned alive by stomach acid and then pummeled to death by rocks. That's horrifying. That's genuinely terrifying. Also, I'm going to take another bathroom break real quick. We'll be right back, and we'll talk a little bit more about dinosaurs. So I'll be right back, guys. Okay, chat. Okay. So, let's see here. Alright, so let me try to find another little dinosaur video for us to watch. Let's see here. You know what? Oh, you know what? I like this guy's channel. Since we're on the subject on sauropods, let me see here. Let me see here. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I like watching this guy's videos. So, this here is called Sauropods Air Hulks by Your Dinosaurs Are Wrong. I love watching this guy's stuff. Because if I remember correctly, he is a paleontologist. I believe he's a paleontologist. Okay, so this is called Sauropods Air Hulks by Your Dinosaurs Are Wrong. 3, 2, 1, go. I mostly watch his shorts.
I recently set about writing a couple of shorts about Brontosaurus. And
I'm not gonna lie, I do. Okay, so for me, I really do, because I've told Dino Diego about this. I believe I've told him about this in the past, but like I really do love like retro style dinosaurs. I have a big soft spot for this kind of stuff.
I wound up with 10 pages of notes, of course, because it turns out that the neck and the armor have some really interesting implications for sauropod physiology. A lot of people, or at least people who comment on our shorts, tried to correct us and say, that's not Brontosaurus, that's Apatosaurus. And like...
Well, yeah, because like most of the public... So most people in the public... Sorry, I also got some salmon stuck in my teeth. I had some salmon. You know, I've actually, tonight I ate salmon for the first time today. Like, I'm not even kidding you guys. This is like legitimately the first time I've ever had salmon. And I really, really like salmon. Because like usually whenever I eat fish, I don't eat fish often. Just because when it comes to like seafood and stuff like that, it's the seafood taste for me kind of wears down after a while, but so, no, for the first time. So, normally whenever I eat fish, it's typically things like grouper. I will eat grouper like there's no tomorrow. Preferably, I like to eat grouper blackened. Now, granted, when I was a lot heavier, I used to really like grouper when it was nice and fried. But I've grown a taste to liking things blackened. Where it has that nice amount of saltness to it. Just love it. But yeah, no, I tried some teriyaki salmon for the first time. Oh no, like I absolutely loved it.
10 years ago, there was a paper.
Let's see here. I find
where
salmon
they
to be
went-
too strong of a fish. Taste for me. I prefer tilapia. Tilapia is good too. I've had tilapia maybe a couple of times whenever I was a kid in Florida. No, like I like tilapia. It's not bad. Now I have been told lionfish isn't bad either, but you got to prep it right. I don't think I will eat things like fugu. I don't want to risk that biscuit.
Very granular, trying to look at the
Eh,
evolutionary
like
relationship
a salmon
of
skin.
a bunch of animals that we at the time called Apatosaurus, and they found that there were 2 monophyletic clumps. 2 or 3 species of Apatosaurus were more closely related to one another than any of them
Okay.
were to the at least 2 species.
Yeah, see, I love seafood, but I get it. It's definitely not for everybody. No, exactly. Like, okay, so whenever my family does like fish, like what is it, like fish? Not fish, but shrimp boils, right? When they do shrimp boils, I will not eat that much shrimp, right? So I won't eat that much shrimp. I will probably eat maybe like 10, maybe 5 or 10 pieces of shrimp before the seafood taste really just kind of just. Bleh. Now, when it's fried, popcorn shrimp, I will sit there and snack on like maybe like a whole box before the seafood taste kicks in. But I think that's just because of the oils and the breading kind of masks that seafood taste a little bit. So there's that. Also, chat. So today I wanted to give this a try. I was listening to oh god, what's his name? I think it's Eat History, and he was making something called dulce domestica. It is a ancient Roman snack, I guess you could say it is. Basically what it is that it is dates cut open, stuffed with pine nuts, walnuts, and black peppercorn, mashed into a paste, and you stuff that into the dates, and then you kind of drizzle honey over it. It's supposed to be like ancient Roman snack foods, right? And so I tried dates for the first time today. So like literally I literally ate dates for the first time today, and I really like dates. But dates are very sweet. Let's see here. First thing, dulce de la. I don't know what that is, Rama. I'm just gonna nod and say yes. Dulce de la leche. Yes, yes, but no. Dulce domestica is a ancient Roman dish. It is a snack food of some kind. It's like popcorn or Cracker Jacks or cotton candy for them, right? When they go to the Colosseum or any form of events. But the problem here is that basically this involves honey, and this also involves dates. And dates are also very, very high in sugar, and they're also very, very high in like calories. Because of the sugar. It is an interesting snack, yeah. Like, if you ever want to give it a try, I will make some for you, Sarah. Like, just let me know. But yeah, so basically, I tried it, but I just tried the dates with the honey, just so that way, just to see if I could actually stomach dates. Because again, I've never eaten dates before until now. Like, I really like the taste of dates. See, it's basically vanilla ice cream drizzled with oh, so it's just vanilla ice cream with caramel. Okay. I've had that before. I didn't know that was a name. But no, like I seem to really like the taste of dates, so I'm thinking Friday I'm gonna try to grab the walnuts. I'm gonna try to grab the walnuts because we do have black peppercorn and we do have the pine nuts. I just need the walnuts. I want to try a day because I always see them, but I never try them. Same here. No, like same here. Like a lot of people seem to really like dates. It's just one of those things where it's just like I've never tried them before until like now. But the the drizzled honey really made it just ridiculously sweet. So I think that's the thing with I guess like the black peppercorn as well, to kind of give that like kind of like I guess like herby, kind of earthy feeling taste to it, whatever the fuck it's called. But yeah, no, like I've been wanting to, like, so like on my throne I have a couple of cookbooks that I really want to give it a try. Because I'm going into the army as a cook, I've been really been practicing on my cooking skills. So that's why there's like a lot of cookbooks on my throne.
Formerly called Brontosaurus, and vice versa. So resuming the use of separate generic names was pragmatic. I'm going to talk about this more when
So,
we
okay.
get around
So
to
the one of the reasons why the people are like going like, oh, well, Brontosaurus, that's a Patasaurus, not Brontosaurus, because the thing is that if you're not really autistic enough to really follow dinosaur shit, or if your profession is not a professional dinosaur autist, aka just a paleontologist, the public's knowledge about dinosaurs is surface level. Like, people know about Brontosaurus, people know about Apatosaurus, people know about they know about that kind of stuff. They know about Brachiosaurus, but they don't really know that Brontosaurus is separate. They don't know that because for a long time it's been drilled into our skulls that Brontosaurus is a Apatosaurus. They've made children's songs about it. They've made they've made children's songs about it. They've made cartoons about it. In fact, in Transformers, the character Sludge was depicted as either a Brontosaurus or an Apatosaurus, but most of the time they called it a Brontosaurus. So that's why people are like, oh, well, that's a Brontosaurus, not an Apatosaurus, when really they're their own separate animals.
re-uploading.
Again, it's like the equivalent of like I guess you could say like it's the equivalent of like a bonobo and a chimpanzee. They both look similar, but they're also very different.
Brontosaurus video, but there are objections to calling those species Brontosaurus, but they come from people who object to using specimen level phylogenetics in this way for this purpose, and I am not prepared to explain that today. This paper, or at least the news that Brontosaurus is back, actually made a pretty big splash at the time, like on social media and even in conventional media, but I guess even that was not enough to overwrite, 4 generations of, well, really, you should call Brontosaurus a Apatosaurus.
Right, and this is what I was saying, though, is that, like, this has been engraved into the public zeitgeist for 40 plus years. Again, this is in children's songs, this is in cartoons, this is in movies, this is in video games, academic literature for children, even like academic papers and books, for adults. So it's gonna take a while for the public to fully grasp that these two are their own separate creatures. It's like telling the common person that, like, say, Velociraptor is not really excuse me. It's like saying that Velociraptor is not like a 6-foot tall murder lizard. It's this pigeon-sized murder, not even a murder, but just a mildly annoying groundhog. Because really, Velociraptor wouldn't really do too much of an issue. And like, you could probably keep it as a pet because it's so damn small. It really wouldn't. I mean, like, it would absolutely like lacerate like a tendon or something like that if it bit you. But for the most part, Velociraptor wouldn't really do much. I mean, you could literally punt the fucking thing. Hi, Bonk, how you doing? Also, guys, go give this nerd a shout out or give this nerd a follow. Hang on.
People like me.
Hang on.
being full of-
Back. Also, give this nerd a follow. How you doing, Bonk? We're talking about dinosaurs today. No, get fucking loved on, nerd. Get fucking loved on. But yeah, we're talking about sauropods today, just because I really want to talk about sauropods because they're really interesting. See, yeah, they're vicious chickens. Now when it comes to dromaeosaurs, you get love. You get love. Anyways, hell yeah, dinosaurs. Exactly. No, you get fucking loved on. But something that does. Yeah, exactly. Something cause offline hype train on Bonk's channel. Just saying. But no. So when it comes to dromaeosaurs, typically when we think of what we see as Velociraptor is not Velociraptor. It is it could be either Deinonychus or it could be Utahraptor, which are still two dinosaurs you really don't want to fuck around and find out with. Especially for the fact that, if I remember correctly, Utahraptor, like Velociraptor, don't have sickle claws that are meant for slashing. They are meant for pinning. So the idea of this giant murderous groundhog basically running you down, because this thing could probably run faster than you, and then pin you to the ground with its giant meat hooks on its feet, and then violently maul the shit out of you, is terrifying. It's not going to be like a grizzly bear where, it's just hemorrhaging blunt force trauma. No, this is just hammering with a fucking mouthful of knives and then meat hooks on its hand. With a bear, it's blunt force trauma. It's going to bite and crush. Utahraptor, it's going to eviscerate while mauling you. Basically, dromaeosaurs are terrifying. This is what I'm trying to get at. And also, it's a lot of common misconceptions on like what is Velociraptor, basically.
To be honest, these Brontosaurus toys have pathetic little necks. No sauropod could have gotten away with a neck this long if it were.
Oh no, like if a dinosaur like this was walking around today, its neck would snap. It would snap in the fucking wind.
Shaped like this. Sauropod necks were actually built more like a trussed crane boom.
Pretty much, yeah.
As the span of the neck increased, the muscles and ligaments needed more leverage to hold it up and to move the neck around. But they couldn't just scale up the bones that their ancestors had, because that would be too heavy, and because that's so much more bone for the growing animal to have to build.
Right.
Bones aren't free. You know what's free? Air. It was the diverticula that expanded.
Yep. So this is the key as to why sauropods got so big. Is because it is because of these like air sacs in their bones, basically. Yeah, no, like Utahraptor use eviscerate. Yeah, no, it would basically, you would basically be in bloody chunks and ribbons all over the floor.
Air sacs.
Yeah, so like sauropods took gigantism to the extreme. Like whales, they can get away with gigantism just because, they're in the water, right? They can get away with that. It's a lot more difficult to do that on land.
Its body and skeleton that it already had due to the way that it breathes. So the bones were able to sort of inflate and get the mechanical advantage they needed for a fraction of the weight and a significantly lower cost in minerals. And
nutrients. No, like that is actually why they got so damn big.
There's recent research looking at soaring birds where they found that by inflating and deflating a diverticulum in their chest, they can actually finely tune the leverage of a particular muscle that they use. And I wonder if there might have been something like that going on with sauropod necks. There's
probably, yeah.
Muscles and ligaments.
It would definitely seem like it would match up, honestly.
Ligaments passing right next to a lot of big diverticula. But regardless, for a neck this long,
basically chest muscles.
A wide air-filled frame, not a noodle. So why did it have sacs in the first place? Well, it was partially because of their unidirectional flow-through breathing. I've mentioned this occasionally without going into detail about what it is. Our lungs are tidal. We have these reservoirs at the ends of ducts where the air stops so that the blood can exchange oxygen for carbon dioxide.
Right.
Archosaur lungs just vascularize the ducts themselves. They divide the bronchi into many tiny parabronchi. This means that they can do gas exchange on the go. Archosaurs can get away with this because the lungs are partially affixed to the rib cage.
So what's kind of interesting with dinosaurs is that they kind of take, and it's funny because it's okay, guys, this is kind of funny. So for this discussion, I actually brought out some of my dinosaur toys from storage. On my desk, I have my Legacy Collection Brachiosaurus and my Hammond Collection Mosasaur. Not Mosasaur, but Mosasaur. It's a sauropodomorph. For this kind of discussion. So like, no, I'm very excited for this. But what's interesting though is that it's just kind of interesting how like dinosaurs combine almost kind of like avian styled like inner workings, but with like almost like kind of like mammalian inner workings as well, with a little bit of reptilian, and they kind of made it their own. It's kind of interesting.
Have that skeletal support so they can have thinner, more vascularized tissue.
Like this is why dinosaurs are so fucking interesting.
Seemingly the ancestors of sauropods, the front, more rigid portion of the lung, the part affixed to the ribs, is for gas exchange. The rear, more flexible portion is for pumping the air in and out. It appears that sauropods, like birds, moved the pumping organs outside of the lungs entirely. We can tell because this correlates with diverticula, with air sacs invading the bones.
Also, welcome back from
Crucial
Ad Break
to
Baby
scientists
Gel,
because
everybody.
Lungs don't fossilize. How it worked was almost certainly different.
But okay, so it's kind of funny that he mentions this because like we have found fossilized internal organs in dinosaurs. The stuff we have found in dinosaurs is kind of fucking wild. Mostly in also thank you for the hydration. Mostly in things like say Psittacosaurus. It's also one of my favorite dinosaurs for the fact that we know when it comes to Psittacosaurus, we know a little too much about Psittacosaurus. So with Psittacosaurus. Psittacosaurus was a small, I would say like a small, medium dog size relative of things like Triceratops that came from Asia. Now, what is bizarre about Psittacosaurus is that we know what it looks like. We know what its color looks like. We know that it had like these little bristles on its tail, which maybe things like Triceratops and other ceratopsians might have had that. We don't know. It's a possibility. But we also know what its butthole looks like. Yes. We have found a fossilized butthole of a dinosaur. Yes. With anal glands. That means they more than likely communicated with their butts. They probably sniffed each other's butts like dogs. You can't make this shit up. True. It's look it up, it's true.
From living avian.
We know a little too much
sauropods,
about this thing.
Probably the same steps. The first inhale pulls fresh air past the lung proper and into the rear sacs. The first exhale pushes the fresh air through the parabronchi. The second inhale pulls that spent air into the front sacs. So the second exhale can push it out of the body. Because it's a 4-stroke process, taking 2 inhale-exhale cycles to complete, there are 2 breaths.
See, I can
in the
even
system
recreate
at any
that.
given moment. They're sort of juggling air through their bodies. This had another advantage.
See, I can't replicate that. Try replicating that, chat. Try replicating that.
As a sauropod was growing up, long before the bones were in danger of breaking under their own weight, it would run into trouble breathing because of something called the dead space problem. The windpipe itself holds a volume of air, which
Yeah,
the
no,
animal
that's
has to push out
nuts.
of the body before the spent air from its lungs can leave, and then pull in before.
Yeah, so like so I guess the dead air is basically like in between the fresh air and the spent air, I guess.
Any fresh air that it's inhaling can reach the lungs. For animals like us with tidal lungs, there is a limit to how long our neck can get before the energy required to take a breath is unrealistically high, or the amount of volume we need to make up for the dead space with each breath is impossible. Whales have ways of getting around this, but they are aquatic and therefore cheating.
Yeah, so like that's why when you see like a lot of giant animals are typically in water, because when you're aquatic, you can kind of get away with gigantism. Like gigantism in aquatic environments is all over the place. Like a good example are things like isopods, because isopods are like little pill bugs. They're little pill bugs. So down in the bottom of the ocean, they do have those things, but they're like, I think like 20 or 30 times bigger. They're insane. Or like whales. Whales are a good example of like deep sea gigantism, or like the giant squid or the colossal squid. Also good examples of deep sea gigantism. Hell, you could probably even say the same thing with like megalodon. Oh, I don't know about megalodon, because I don't think because it's not really like a relative of the great white shark as modern media depicts it. I think it's more of like oh god, what is it? Because I remember it's not a mackerel shark. So mackerel sharks are things like, say, the mako and the great white. I think they said like the megalodon is I want to say it's a relative of the bull shark. I want to say, I don't quote me on that one, but basically deep sea gigantism.
Because they only take a breath every once in a while,
Megas ototus. Okay.
To how their respiration works.
Thank you.
They can collapse their lungs way further than we do, so when they exhale, they're pushing a lot more dead space out of the body anyway. Their muscles store more myoglobin, which means that they have more of a buffer before the blood has to deliver more oxygen. And some diving whales have an air sac system, apparently for buoyancy control, which they can
Sure, that
use
makes sense.
to shunt air around in their bodies to keep the level of oxygen in the air that's in the alveolar chambers at an acceptable level. Sauropods,
That's kind of
despite being
cheating.
about the same size as some whales, were terrestrial, and their metabolisms were not burning nearly as hot. So the solution they came up with, as you probably already guessed, was their flow-through lung ventilated by air sacs. Air sacs and
Sure.
possibly diverticula hold more volume, so the animal can take up and play out more of the slack. With each
Basically-
breath. The efficiency of parabronchial gas exchange means they can still make use of stale, low-oxygen air that does get re-inhaled.
So basically, it's kind of like an extremely complex machine. It's kind of what he's kind of going about how their whole like breathing system is, that it's a very complex machine. Very, very delicate, very, very complex.
So actually, I lied earlier. Our sauropod would have no trouble at all mitigating the dead space problem. I do feel the need to clarify something at this point, because a lot of people commented on our shorts just saying giraffe, like it was some kind of gotcha. This is a giraffe.
Well, not necessarily.
This is a brontosaurus.
That's just for breathing. Yeah,
This is a
no,
diplodocus.
it really is.
Did I mention that this toy is supposed to be a diplodocus?
Could air
It doesn't
sacs
look
be
like
one of
it.
the reasons why dinosaurs never went aquatic? Well, I don't know about that one, Paleo, because we do technically have aquatic dinosaurs. Again, I say this in like quotation marks, aquatic. Now, if we're talking fully aquatic, probably. But we have tons of examples of semi-aquatic dinosaurs, like say Velociraptor is another good example of a semi-aquatic dinosaur. We have like a Spinosaurus. We have like penguins that are also semi-aquatic dinosaurs. We have Hesperornis. We have all that stuff. But yeah, I would definitely say like in terms of like a fully like full-blown never going back on land. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. That's what I was talking about. Like in terms of like a fully like full-blown aquatic never going back on land, fuck the land kind of dinosaur. Probably. That's probably why.
like one. It looks like a brontosaurus, but the
Because it
person
would
who sent
fuck
it
with
to
its
us
air, like
claimed
its
it was Diplodocus,
whole
so I'm
like
not gonna
air
disagree.
system.
Giraffes and sauropods are dealing with some of the same physiological challenges, but can you see how sauropods might be at an entirely different magnitude? The
Well,
largest
yeah.
giraffes are males 10 or more years old. They're approaching 2 tons. A 2-ton apatosaurus isn't even half of adult length, and it's something like a tenth of its adult mass. It hasn't grown quite so rapidly as
Yeah, so that's another thing is that like sauropods also have like this fucking bonkers ass growth spurt. They really do, and it's kind of nuts.
the giraffe has, but it didn't have a head start, spending 15 months in the womb. It's probably like 12 or 13 when it reached this size. And yet, look how much more skeleton it has, and how much more it still has to make. Not to belabor the point, but building out your skeleton gets exponentially costlier as you get larger and larger,
Yeah.
unless you can leverage your air sacs. Giraffes are the reason that I say that a
'Cause, like-
tidally breathing sauropod
Because like bones are fucking heavy, and bones put a lot of stress on your body. They really do.
would have
Again, this is why like whales can get away with it because again, they got the water to kind of help them out. Yeah, help them out there.
unrealistic energy requirements. Giraffes mitigate the dead space problem by narrowing their trachea, which means that the volume is reduced because it's just a smaller circumference. But if you've ever tried to breathe through a coffee stirrer or something like that,
Yeah.
you know that you have to work a lot harder to get the same volume of
Yeah,
air in.
no,
there.
like-
Giraffes have these
like-
long
Chat, have you ever tried that before? Like just for the just for the hee-hees and the hoo-hoos. Have you ever really tried to like breathe through like a straw or a coffee stirrer or something like that that's like super super narrow? Yeah, it's really really hard. Or hell, like even like those masks that runners wear that with the where they can adjust their breathing, like how much they can breathe in. Yeah, no, it's super super uncomfortable.
elastic fibers in their lungs, which mean that they naturally contract to push the air out, and they can immediately start inhaling, reach maximum inhale rate faster, and take a longer inhale. They take like 2 to 3 seconds to inhale, as opposed to less than 2 for the exhale. Giraffes can afford to do this because they are eutherians. We run hot, but we burn a lot of energy to do it. Sauropods, while certainly higher metabolic level than other reptiles, were still lower than a giraffe.
Yeah, so like if I remember correctly, like dinosaurs aren't necessarily warm-blooded, they're not cold-blooded, they're not warm-blooded. I think they're like from what I've read somewhere, they're like somewhere in between. If I remember correctly.
Breathing actually occurs in a number of living ectotherms. Savanna monitors and iguanas both have it, and neither of them have particularly long necks. These differ from the archosaur system. It appears that they don't have as much specialization between the front gas exchange portion and the rear pumping portion. The unidirectional flow is kind of a consequence of just the way the airstream sloshes around the chambers, but this may have advantages for a low energy lifestyle because any motion that pumps the lungs even a little bit will cycle fresh air into the gas exchange portion, even if it's just the animal laying there having its heartbeat push the air around. You're still getting a little bit. Again, sauropods have correlates for
Yeah, like basically like every movement you make, depending on like what you do, you will like basically suck in like depending on like how much amount of air essentially. So I would imagine like the life of a sauropod is not the fastest in the world, because I would also imagine that would also put a lot of less stress on their hearts and lungs.
a much more sophisticated respiratory system than that, but the principle is the same. The efficiency gains of a flow-through lung are present even if you are a lower energy animal. These toys are both fairly old-fashioned depictions of sauropods.
Well, yeah, I mean,
The
they're still
narrow,
sprawling,
low-slung neck with
like,
a
sauropods.
big, wide head on it, the splayed front limbs, the overall bell-curved back. I was surprised, therefore, to see osteoderms represented on it. But it turns out sauropod osteoderms were known back when this kind of depiction was state of the art. In the middle of the 19th century,
Yeah, because we have things like titanosaurs that have things like osteoderms.
Mantel described the impressions of the skin of a sauropod from Britain that appeared to show a pavement of ossicles. It later turned out that these were actually just scales. At the turn of the 20th century, Desparet described a large, flat osteoderm from a sauropod from Madagascar. But then in the 1920s, that was reinterpreted incorrectly, it turns out, as ankylosaur veins, as were any subsequent sauropod osteoderms that we came across. It wasn't until 1980, with the description of Saltosaurus, that sauropod armor was incontrovertibly established.
Which is really kind of interesting, just of like how bad the predation environment was in order for sauropods to evolve things like body armor, like a la maybe like a crocodile where they have like the osteoderms on their backs, or maybe even like faux ankylosaurid armor.
Toy, in a surprising twist, post-dates that discovery. This toy was made in the 80s, and I don't know if the manufacturer intended this, but the arrangement of
Probably not.
osteoderms as a sort of evenly spaced set of nodules over the entire back
More
of the
than
animal
likely they
is
put it there
consistent with
just to
how the
make it look a
describers of
little bit more
Saltosaurus
appealing.
thought its armor was arranged. So it's actually
Because I
pretty
remember having
accurate
something
for
like this as a kid.
Saltosaurus at that time. If only they hadn't labeled it Brontosaurus. There's actually a decent amount of artwork of Brontosaurus in particular with skin armor. I don't know if it's ossified, but it's not on the back, it's on the underside of the neck. As sauropod necks got longer and longer, their cervicals became narrow struts and thin walls between a bunch of air-filled chambers. Then,
Oh yeah, it's to kind of help
apatosaurians
out
like
with their
Brontosaurus
big
went
old
and
fucking
enlarged the
necks.
solid portions anyway. They developed these uniquely overbuilt neck ribs, as well as reinforcing the struts that they connect to.
You know, looking at all of this, chat, so looking at all of this, it really shows just how complex and also kind of how delicate the how sauropods how sauropods evolve just by their inner workings. Like, all of this sounds like super like delicate
Sauropod necks are more of a trapezoid
and so
cross-section
complex.
than they are a circle, but Brontosaurus and Apatosaurus take it to an extreme. They develop these like off-road bumpers at the bottom. Some workers proposed 10 years ago now that this might be an adaptation for elephant seal-like shoving matches. Where
I
the
could probably
animals
see
are
that, yeah.
pushing against each other with those bumper necks. But as far as I can find, that idea has never actually been published as peer-reviewed research. So the only sauropod armor that we have really attested is from titanosaurs. It came in a variety of shapes and sizes.
I mean, like, honestly,
The
I can
arrangement on this toy
kind of see that
is
though.
probably not.
I mean, like, honestly though, like, I can kind of see like sauropods like shoving each other for like dominance, or like how giraffes kind of do it where they just whip each other with their necks. Granted, also giraffes also have like those giant like little bumps on their noggin, so that also kind of helps a little bit. But I have a feeling like sauropods probably did the same thing as well. Maybe through in like biting as well. Or maybe they have like little like kind of like how iguanas have like little spines on their bodies. Probably had that too. I don't know. It's a very good possibility. Or hell, maybe some sauropods, maybe like diplodocus, use their tails as like whips to like crack each other. I don't know. Like, that's also again like another like idea, I guess. Or if you're like Bahatosaurus, maybe they did like pushing matches to interlocking their like neck horns or neck spines or whatever they are.
What was going on? It probably was not just simple
Maybe.
rounded nodules like this. Also, I'm treating this as if it is a Saltosaurus, even though I know it's a Brontosaurus. Saltosaurus's armor was mostly tiny ossicles, only half a centimeter to a centimeter across.
It's kind of, so that's
on
kind of like
every table.
chainmail.
It's similar to what we see on the throat of Stegosaurus, and at this toy's scale, it would
Yeah, so this is what I was talking about. So like Stegosaurus had like a little almost like a neck guard almost that ran down from the from its bottom jaw all the way to like I want to say like the base of the throat, where it served a little bit of protection, not a whole lot, but just a little bit. And looking at Saltosaurus, the armor for Saltosaurus kind of reminds me a little bit of chainmail.
Be invisible. The larger
Like,
osteoderms are not
Kind of like
simple
faux
domes.
chainmail.
Paper most of this is from calls these plates, but these are not upright plates like on a stegosaur. These are like dinner plates. They're flat circles or ovals.
Yeah, they're
with a nub in the
osteoderms.
middle. Personally, I would have
Like a
called
crocodile.
them rondels, and the
Oh, okay, or
rondels that we
rondels,
find
yeah,
in
that works too.
Saltosaurus had something interesting going on with their bone tissue. When a titanosaur's armor started growing in, there were a couple of different ways it could go about actually building the bone. The usual situation is called metaplasia. The cells that usually build and maintain the skin started making bones now. We can tell because the osteoderms still have the fiber bundles that were once the collagen of the skin. They've just turned to bone. That structure is what we find in the tightly packed ossicle pavement and on the outer portion of the larger rondels. But then the base, the sides, and the insides of the rondels are different. They appear to have grown the way that the bones of the skeleton do. There's a core of spongy and woven bone tissues acting as a blood vessel highway, carrying everything the bones needed to remodel the outer layers of the osteoderm as it expanded. The authors thought that this might just be because the rondel was just so much bigger than the little ossicles that it needed that nutrient highway to transport all the stuff that it needed to maintain and expand and remodel the armor. But I wonder if something else might be going on, because other saltosauroids had even more extreme remodeling happening in the bottom, the roots of their osteoderms.
Right.
We literally need to go deeper. There's a bone bed of titanosaurs from Spain consisting of Loecatitan pandophyllandi and Cuncosaurus pintikim.
It's kind of cool, like just how widespread things like sauropods are, especially like titanosaurs, like towards the end of the reign of the dinosaurs.
Niestra. These are excellent names, very fun to say. They're also Don Quixote references, so well played, Spain. But the
Wait, hold up, they're
material
what?
includes their references, so these are excellent names. Pandophyllandi and
Wait,
Cuncosaurus
they're what kind of
pintikim.
references?
These are excellent names, very fun to say. They're also Don Quixote references, so.
Wait, Don Quixote. What the heck is? Wait, I gotta see this. Hang on, let me pull up my phone. What is Don Quixote? How do you spell that? Don Quixote? Quixote? Don Quixote? Don Quixote. Oh, it's a movie. Wait, hold up. See, Don Quixote. Oh, yeah, it's a movie. The fuck? Yeah, it's a movie. What is this? Oh, it's an unfinished film project written and composed by Orson. Wait, by Orson Welles? Oh, I didn't know this. Huh. Don Quixote was originally conceived as a 1955 as a 30-minute film for CBS entitled Don Quixote Passes By. Huh. Oh, interesting. That's kind of cool. Oh, it's a Spanish novel. Wait. Don Quixote novel. Oh, yep, there we go. Yep, Don Quixote. I'm going to fucking butcher this. By Miguel del Cervantes is a Spanish novel published in two parts, 1605 and 1615, that consists of the first modern novel and a masterpiece of oh wow, really? Considered the first modern novel and a masterpiece of Western literature. Huh. Oh, that's interesting. That's kind of cool.
Played, Spain. But the Loecatitan material
Well played,
large
Spain.
osteoderms,
You too
currently
are
arranged
nerds.
in parasagittal, that is lengthwise rows along the animal's back and the base of the tail. The outer portion is about what you would expect. It's the familiar bulb or plate shape, but underneath the skin, they form these like bone carrots, these enormous roots just under the surface of the hide. And when they scanned the insides of 17 of these, 8 had long empty channels down the middle, and 4 had low-density spongy bone around those channels, forming cavities extending down the root.
So maybe it's for veins and maybe, I don't know, shock absorbers?
Kind of like what we saw in Saltosaurus. It's almost like the dense spongy bone had been vacuumed out, leaving behind these chambers. Now, what could make an osteoderm look like that? Well, remember when I said bones aren't free?
Interesting.
Well, neither are eggs. And if you, a saltosauroid, are gravid, first of all, congratulations, but you have replaced any bone in your body that you can get away with air pockets. So if you want to pull nutrients from your bones, pull calcium from them, that could be life-threatening. You're a very heavy animal. You can't risk the structural integrity of your bones, not even...
Yeah, because you need all the calcium that you get because they're very huge. Saltosauruses are very huge animals.
For your precious eggs. So instead, like modern crocodilians, you're going to mobilize the minerals in your osteoderms, in your armor. It occurred to me that because the embryos are going to be building their skeleton by dissolving away the inside of their eggshell,
so maybe it's a female Saltosaurus?
When it hatches, a titanosaur is carrying its mother's armor inside it, in a way. Sauropod growth was one of the most extreme processes vertebrates have ever come up with. And I love when workers find this or that seemingly minor detail of their anatomy was...
So maybe that was like a
female
Saltosaurus or something?
And I want to thank you for watching Your Dinosaurs Are Wrong. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
We would like to
give this guy a follow. This guy makes a lot of really, really good content. Personally, I really love Your Dinosaurs Are Wrong because so funny enough is that I was watching one of his videos. It wasn't about sauropods, but it was about Dinochirus. And that is a completely fucking wacky ass history with that dinosaur. Considering that Dinochirus in of itself is also a very, very bizarre animal. Considering that it literally looks like a Therizinosaur and I guess you could say like a pelican mixed together, but it's neither. It is a member of the Gallimimus family. They're really, really weird. Let's see here. I guess we got a little bit of time. We do got a little bit of time. Let me see here. Let's see here. That is... Let's see here. What else can we watch that is dinosaur or paleo adjacent? You know what? Oh, that's like an hour long. So I was gonna say we could watch him like do a little bit of like fan unboxing. Oh wait, what was the guy then? Hang on, let me actually put up. Hang on real quick. Hang on real quick. Let me just copy and paste this real quick. His name is called Your Dinosaurs Are Wrong. Here you go. That's what it is. Your Dinosaurs Are Wrong. So okay, so this is not sauropod related, but it is paleo related. It's about Dimetrodon, which is honestly one of my favorite prehistoric animals. I love Dimetrodon. I've always loved them as a kid. Let me see here. Give me a second here. Okay. Yeah, so this is Your Dinosaurs Are Wrong, and this is about Dimetrodon. So I think we'll probably close out the night with this little number. So, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, there he is. Oh, there he is. This is the man. Dino Demodome. Yeah, Dimetrodons are really good. Oh my god. Oh my god.
This isn't a dinosaur.
No, it's not. So,
All right.
so wait, is the oh, so that's the original episode. We'll cut to here we go.
So I'm fair.
There we go. Now we'll cut to the actual episode. Yeah, so so for those who don't know, so Dimetrodons are not dinosaurs. They are some of the most commonly misidentified animals as a dinosaur. So what they are is that they are not a type of dinosaur. They are a reptile, but they are what are known as stem mammals. They are synapsids. An older term of these would have been mammal-like reptiles, which were reptiles that shared and were related to mammals. These were basically where mammals kind of got their first start. Now, granted, Dimetrodon is, I believe, it's one of the earlier forms of synapsids where you really don't see that many of like the mammal traits. You do still see a lot of like the reptile traits, but because of its looks, Dimetrodon has been for years and still to this day is still lumped in with dinosaurs. It's gotten a little bit better over the course of the century, but still, it is still a very commonly misconceived animal to be lumped in with dinosaurs. That and like pterosaurs.
Fairly confident in saying that that was our worst episode, both because I was much more concerned with Dimetrodon is not a dinosaur than with covering Dimetrodon in any kind of detail for its own sake, and because I didn't know a lot about Dimetrodon. I still don't, but I was kind of completely wrong on some things and missed some nuance on some other things. I also misspoke a whole bunch. We would just do a new take nowadays if I mess something up like saying meters instead of feet. But
now, what's also really interesting though is that convergent evolution is such a weird bitch in that there are so many times throughout Earth's history where we have gotten sailbacks, which are obviously animals with a giant sail on their back. The poster child of this, outside of Dimetrodon, is Spinosaurus. But I believe we've gotten sailback reptiles and I think even amphibians, as well as things like dinosaurs. Luckily, we haven't gotten a sailback mammal. The only thing we have come close to a sailback mammal, I believe it is Dimetrodon. Well, Dimetrodon and its other relatives, like, say, like Edaphosaurus, for example.
I was just swinging for the fences back then. Just, yeah, I can characterize the amniotes radiation with almost no...
Now,
Sure.
in terms of synapsids, once we get further and further into Earth's history, we do kind of see like synapsids start to become more and more mammal-like. A good example of like a synapsid that is like far more mammal, outside of like obvious things like dicynodonts and all that kind of stuff, are the Gorgonopsids, where you can kind of see that things like the poster child Gorgonops looks very much like what would happen if you combine like a Tyrannosaurus Rex with like a lion or a wolf, or, you know, just smash them all together into one little blender and it just shit out a little monstrosity. That is a Gorgonopsid. But Gorgonops had like mammalian traits, more specifically in its skull, its teeth and its skull. But it still kind of had more of like the reptilian traits in its body, but it was leaning more and more towards the mammal side. Maybe it had fur, maybe just a tiny bit of fur, maybe some whiskers or some kind of something akin to that. We don't know. But Dimetrodon, I can probably safely say is that Dimetrodon did not have fur of any kind. I feel like it's far too primitive to have that. It's like saying like earlier dinosaurs, like say like maybe coelophysids, had feathers. I don't think so. I feel like that would be far too early for them to have feathers. I feel like more once we get more and more towards like the Jurassic, yes, absolutely. We have dinosaurs that had feathers in the Jurassic. But things like coelophysids, because we do see a lot of illustrations of coelophysis with feathers, I don't think so. That's honestly the best way to describe a Gorgonopsid. Yeah, basically a T-Rex, a wolf, and a lion got smashed into a blender, and then that's the monster that you get.
Turned out about as well as you might think.
Sauropsids. Or
Amniotes actually
sauropsids.
split before the Permian. This would have been at the end of the Carboniferous. And diapsids is not a wrong term to use, but synapsids and sauropsids are much more stable terms to use. But yes, synapsids do have just the one fenestra, whereas sauropsids ancestrally have two, but then if you look at any particular group, they may have lost one or gained more. So it's not a particularly useful way to identify a later skull, but in the Permian, it can still help us.
Yeah. Like I said, I think Dimetrodon is a
Dimetrodon's
earlier
activity
one.
and mobility level were probably not as low as I characterized them. It wasn't on the level of like a bipedal dinosaur, obviously, but
right. Or
not the
or like something like say like a Gorgonops. I don't think that they were completely 100% sprawling, but I also don't think that they had a gait like say like a Gorgonops, or I would say maybe at best their gait was probably akin to like maybe something like an alligator, how an alligator would walk, not like a lizard. Or if they want to run, maybe like say a Cuban crocodile.
the sluggish, unable to haul its weight around Hulk that I portrayed it as. We have skeletal evidence that they would have had higher energy efficiency than we might expect when moving. And there's trackway evidence from a related animal called Dimetropus, which I believe is just an ichnotaxa, showing an animal like this walking in an approximation of the semi-sprawled posture that crocs will adopt.
Yep,
It's
see, that's
sometimes
what I was
called a
talking
high
about.
walk. I did this throughout the episode. I would talk about it like it's a failure of an animal where it would tire easily and have to lay back down after any burst of activity, and that doesn't seem to be the case.
Especially since Dimetrodons had like the giant sails on their back, so they basically had like a little extra bit of energy as well.
That Dimetrodon actually varies in size between species really substantially. We have little tiny Dimetrodon teutonus, which is 0.6 meters.
He's a little guy. Look at him. I wouldn't mind having him as a pet. Having a Dimetrodon teutonus. He's a little guy.
Long. The focus of our episode was Dimetrodon grandis, which is 3.2 meters long,
So
and then Dimetrodon angelensis is all the way up.
So
at
Whittle, yeah, he's a Will guy. Oh God, that is it's like that. It's like that quote from the Astiv. Was like the Astiv movie. It's like, oh, look at the little baby. Now look at the big baby. No, really though, this would scare the shit out of me. Because this is like a manageable house pet. This is like a large dog right here. This is a fucking bear.
6 meters long.
That's a fucking bear.
There might be more exceptions than not to the statement that dinosaurs tend to only have one type of tooth in their mouth. Like that is just a bizarre thing to say. Dimetrodon's teeth show this interesting variation to them where some species have just smooth carinae, which are the cutting edges of the teeth, but then Dimetrodon limbatus, which I think is the type now, has
never talk to me or my son
wrinkles in
again.
the enamel, forming a sort of partial serrated cutting edge, and then Dimetrodon grandis shows true zyphodont dentition, which is where the dentine and the enamel are involved in making the serrations. And so independently, this one species hit on the type of tooth that's going to dominate life for hundreds of millions of years. While we're on the teeth,
Yeah, so it's kind of like laying down the blueprint of your own teeth.
I, in my animations, showed the teeth really poking out of the mouth. Like even when it's closed, you would probably see those teeth out.
I could probably
on
see
the
that.
extraoral tissues. I couldn't find any information on like what osteological correlates we would be looking for in these animals. I'm not familiar with the facial tissues of synapsids, but
Honestly, when it comes to things like Dimetrodon, I could probably see this thing having its teeth jut out a little bit. Probably not like, say, like a T-Rex where more than likely it had lips. For Dimetrodon, I feel like this thing probably didn't have lips, or it had like partial lips or something like that.
as far as I know, based on extant phylogenetic bracket, we would expect the teeth to not be showing when the mouth is closed. Which
Or
means
that,
that
you know, that
notch
works too.
at the front of the mouth would be obscured by the extraoral tissues.
Neck, or the lack thereof.
I elected not to really change the posture of the neck compared to this toy, or this toy for that matter, which does the same thing, where it's this old-fashioned dinosaur-looking way to hold the head. But these objectively worse toys actually are closer to reality. Dimetrodon had an extremely short neck. It was only
So what you're saying is that Dimetrodon was a no-neck chump. To quote Ed, Edd n Eddy, he's a no-neck chump.
5-ish cervicals. In life, the head would have looked kind of like it's squished and continuous.
He's labeled as a Dilophosaurus, but come on. Yeah.
Muscular neck, mind you, like plenty to work with. It's just not this dinosaurian-looking posture and proportions, which I wonder if portrayal like this might have contributed to the Dimetrodon as a dinosaur misconception.
Well, that and like its general appearance, like it does. Okay, like honestly, for those who are not paleologically inclined, when they take a look at Dimetrodon, they're not going to look at it and go, "Oh, well, that's a stem mammal. That is a synapsid." They're going to look at it and go, "Oh, that's a dinosaur," because to the untrained eye, to those who are not, in the know of paleontology and don't really know things like synapsids, therapsids, cerapsids, and all that other kind of crap, they're gonna look at that and go, "Oh, that's a dinosaur," because it looks like a dinosaur. And then you could go, "Well, it's not. It's mostly closely related to mammals," which will freak everybody out because when they think, "Oh, mammals, something cute, something fuzzy, or prehistoric mammal that lived around the dinosaur, something that looked like maybe like a dog or an opossum or a badger, not basically a dinosaur." It weirds people out. Which also, fun fact is that synapsids also had like a tree-dwelling monkey like stand-in almost. I can't remember what it was, but it would live in the trees like a monkey, and it actually had opposable thumbs. And it's very weird because reptiles would give this another go, and they would get the Trypanosaurs, which Trypanosaurs were really fucking weird, and I love Trypanosaurs because they're just such a weird... They're like the platypus of reptiles, where they are these weird hodgepodge animals that have things like the head of a bird, the tail of a scorpion, they got these giant like chameleon-like hands, but also have like these ginormous like thumb claws like an iguanodon. They're really fucking weird and they're really cool. And it's just, again, it's like I said, convergent evolution is a bitch because we've had so many things, even down to like a monkey design, be repeated with different various animals. So things like synapsids had that. The reptiles had that with the Trypanosaurs. So I was aware of. Dinosaurs don't really have that. I think maybe the closest they have is maybe not called Dipteryx, but I want to call it like Appendrasaurus. It had like these giant long ass like pinky fingers, almost like an eye. I think it's like Epidecturix, something like that. I can't remember.
Caught this error in post, but the nose of Dimetrodon bears elaboration, no pun intended.
Hang on.
Inside
What's it
the
fucking
sinus
called?
cavity are these ridges on
Hang
the
on real quick.
bone, which are probably attachment points for these cartilaginous structures called nasoturbinates.
See here.
They are an adaptation for the sense of smell. You occasionally see Dimetrodon restored with an external cartilaginous nose, like a mammal-like nose. As far as I know, that is incorrect. The mammal movable nose evolved stepwise by replacing the premaxilla with a bone called the septomaxilla. And Dimetrodon has a septomaxilla, but it's tiny and it's entirely inside the
What is it
nasal chamber.
called?
The
It's a
premaxilla
relative
is
of
still the
Yi
main
Chi.
event when it comes to the snout tip of Dimetrodon. So I was sort of
Hang on real
correct
quick.
in saying that it was taking the first step towards a mammal-like nose.
Hang on, let me see here. What's this thing called? It's called. I know it's called the Scanoceroptery. Scanoceropteryx. No, it's not. That's not it. What is it fucking called? What is it called? It's not that. It's not that. Let's see here. Hang on, real quick. Small dinosaur with long fingers. What was it fucking called? Because I can see what the animal looks like. What is it called? It's a really, really tiny dinosaur. It's not called Dipteryx. It's something else. Here we go. It's just Scanoceropteryx. Oh, okay, never mind. Oh, it is Scanoceropteryx. Okay, never mind. I thought it was I thought it was called something else. All right. Pardon me, I'm fucking stupid.
But, like, on accident.
I'm a fake dinosaur nerd.
While we're talking about senses, there was a paper this year, actually, which has some bearing on Dimetrodon's hearing. So none of these toys, as far as I can see, show a external ear, not even just a simple hole. Historically,
They're deaf.
Dimetrodon has been thought to have pretty poor hearing, below 1,000 hertz, only really able to detect vibrations through the ground, not so much vibrations through the air.
I mean, that would make.
This is because
I guess that would make sense.
there's debate as to whether they would have had a tympanic membrane, an eardrum, but the bone that we have that vibrates against the eardrum, the stapes, in Dimetrodon was this huge strut supporting the brain case, so probably not used for transmitting sound. However, this year, workers CT scanned the back of a Dimetrodon skull and found structures that would be used to pick up sounds at like 2750 hertz. Way higher
so that's
than
not
we
bad.
previously thought. So
Yeah, so that's
how
not
did
bad.
They do that. There's a process on the jawbone that, if they had a tympanic membrane, maybe could have vibrated against that, or maybe it just vibrated the jaw muscles to like approximate the function of an ear. But in any case, their hearing was not anywhere close to like a modern predator's hearing, but it didn't need to be.
So maybe like
Competing with
maybe it had
modern predators,
like.
their hearing was
So I'm wondering if that's more of like its reptilian ancestry more and less more of like its mammalian ancestry, and also that freeze frame. God, this fucking freeze frame.
better than other animals at their time.
Tail uncertainty.
I called the long, skinny tail mammal-like. I don't know why I was so insistent on like any feature that we see here. I want to talk about why it's more mammal-like than dinosaur-like, other than like that was the closest thing to a thesis I had. But what's interesting about Dimetrodon's tail is that the super long sort of serpentine restoration might be an overcorrection. See, originally Case described a specimen now referred to Dimetrodon grandis, which only had the first 11 caudals.
Yeah, because I really don't think like Dimetrodon had like that short of a tail.
10 caudals preserved, and they decreased in size really quickly as you went down the tail. So he figured, oh, well, if that keeps going like that, there's not going to be more than maybe 20 caudals. So you wind up with this very short, like bob-tailed Dimetrodon. Then Romer came along in 1927 and said, no, I have this portion of like 20 caudals from the middle portion of the tail, and while they're shorter top to bottom and smaller in circumference than the more proximal caudals. They're still pretty
I have a
long.
feeling like
So
it had a
Romer
longer-ish
restores
kind of
them with
tail.
this really, really long tail. I do like how Romer observed correctly that reasonable extrapolations from limited information can be overturned by new fossil data, but then in the very next sentence extrapolates and says, well, they don't seem to be slowing down, so I think that the tail extended well beyond the 40th caudal.
I don't think it had like a crazy
fairness,
long
like,
serpentine
modern reptiles
tail,
still
but
have 50 caudals. But if you scale Romer's medial portion of the tail to the size of those last few caudals on Case's specimen, you wind up with an animal with a lot of tail vertebrae, but a relatively short tail. Also, this could have easily varied between species, like everything else did.
hip and ankle. Okay, here we go.
I brushed right past the hips and ankles, probably because they confuse and frighten me. If you're used to the parasite,
Honestly, hips and ankles frighten me too.
Dimetrodon looks very weird, but their hip resembles a very chunky lizard hip. It has prominent muscle attachments.
Well, yeah,
the
because
ischium, clearly plenty of leg muscles to move around with. The acetabulum has a pretty wide range of motion.
Well, yeah, because if I remember correctly, like Dimetrodon was like one of the earlier examples of like a synapsid. Like it's still kind of hardwired to be kind of reptilian,
which is good since the knee doesn't. At least the knee can't rotate. Their ankles functionally are similar to crocodile ankles in that they can both rotate forward and back and rotate around.
Okay, I didn't know that.
That might be convergent because I don't, the way that ankle bones ossify confuses me, but it seems like they had the motion
Okay, I did
necessary
not
to be
know
able
about
to
that.
both shuffle along with their legs sprawled and do the semi-sprawled, more active.
See, this is what I was talking about earlier. Because I have a feeling like Dimetrodon, when it walked, it probably had a gait similar to that, like an alligator. And if it ran, it wouldn't surprise me if Dimetrodon had like a running gait like that of like Cuban crocodiles. Because if you know anything about Cuban crocodiles, you know that they can gallop. Like they could straight up full-blown gallop after you. It is kind of cool but terrifying at the same time.
Posture.
Spine scene.
I implied that Dimetrodon just couldn't hack it. It was kind of a failure of an animal that was just waiting around for the archosaurs to come and supersede it, which is shame on Steven for saying such things. Because first of all, that's something that historical workers thought about dinosaurs. You know, they're just waiting around for mammals to supersede them, and I've railed against that before.
You know, the funny thing is if the meteor, right? So it's just kind of funny just of how things work in the universe, because it's like if the meteor didn't happen, then we would probably be more than likely we would all be dinosaurs, which also sounds kind of badass. But the thing is dinosaurs were probably a lot more adaptive than mammals. But then again, also what's really kind of interesting with mammals is just how short of a time span mammals had to adapt and mold into their environments, whereas dinosaurs took millions upon millions upon millions of years to finally tune and adapt. Probably more so to their detriment as opposed to a mammal. Like, say, you could probably drop a tiger in the savannah and it would probably be okay. Granted, it would be a lot better in the jungle, but a tiger could still probably go out in the savannah and go toe-to-toe with a lion. Same thing with a lion. You could probably drop a lion in the jungle and it will probably be just as fine, like in Southeast Asia. Whereas dinosaurs, I think, were far more over specified. They were so adapted to their environment, and they just couldn't adapt when something like a catastrophe happens like this. Whereas mammals, they were just at the right spot at the right time. But also, it is kind of fucking crazy to think about. Again, in such a short period amount of time, mammals have exploded and have taken over vastly different, climates, habitats, niches. Like, it's kind of interesting of just how much of a generalist mammals really are, as opposed to dinosaurs, which are very specialists. It's kind of cool.
I was blithely repeating something that early workers also thought about Dimetrodon. We touched on this in the Sophie episode. There was this idea that as a lineage of animals ages, it kind of stops adapting to its environment somehow and just like starts developing display structures that are useless to its survival. There was actually a term for this for Dimetrodon specifically, the spinescence, which is senescence and spines, portmanteau.
Oh, spine. Oh,
Obviously,
spine.
the
I thought it was
grand
spine
sweep of
scene.
evolution cannot be characterized as just later forms are better. Animals are adapted to their environment.
True.
Also, I kind of implied that Dimetrodon was killed off in the Great Dying. That is not the case. They disappeared by the middle of the Permian. They were
Right.
extremely successful apex predators for like 20 million years, and Romer actually observed this. He was
That's actually
criticizing
kind of
the
impressive.
senescence view, and he said, if Dimetrodon is senescent, decrepitude would appear to be a blessing.
True. Now, this one's kind of an interesting one because there is a little bit of a debate on like the spine or the sail of Dimetrodon, because like some people have suggested that maybe it wasn't fully covered in a membrane like a lot of depictions of Dimetrodon. Some say like there have been like little bone struts that poke out from the sail itself. Some say it's fully covered. So I'm really curious to see like what this guy has to say.
Since we're at the spines now, most of these toys show the sail continuing onto the tail. As far as I know, that is not correct. The neural spines on the base of the tail are long, but not so long that they reach the ornamental scale of the ones over the back or over the hip. Also, the ones on the sacrum and the posterior portion of the torso curve backwards, the ornamental spines do, so you wind up with the rear edge of the sail sort of overhanging the tail, but not being attached to it. The biggest change from the historical portrayal of the sail came in 2012, when a paper by Rega and co-authors found that the tips of the neural spines
See, this is
actually
what I was
extended
talking about.
past the fleshy sail by some amount.
And honestly, that looks really freaking wild.
Now, they were looking at Dimetrodon giganhomogenes, so what they found there might not necessarily apply to every species of Dimetrodon. They were looking at the tissue of the spines and found that there were 3 distinct zones. Towards the base, they are...
Which, honestly, like, as an evolutionary... Also, we're about to have an ad break in about 10 seconds, so I will see you all in after ad break baby jail. So I'm actually going to take this opportunity to get up and go to the bathroom. So I will be right back. I'll be right back, guys. Alrighty, everybody. Are you back from ad break baby jail? How are we all doing today, guys? Hope you guys got to see. Hope you guys got to get up and stretch and get something to drink, don't want you to get all nice and cramped up or anything like that. But but we are going to be finishing out the night with this lovely little video. For those who still, if you don't know, we don't got too much left. But yes, we're going to round out the night here. So let's finish this.
Adapted for tendon and muscle attachments, so you probably wouldn't see this really sharp division between the back of the animal and the sail. It was probably a more gradual or stepwise transition. Then
I probably think it was a little bit more gradual.
It's got these sharp,
kind of like this.
These fibers that correlate with having flesh or membranes between them. Broken spines, which seemingly happened fairly regularly, would heal more or less straight. So they had tissues splinting them. Whereas in the more distal portions of the spines, broken or bent bone heals at all kinds of wacky angles. And the way that the muscles and tendons of the back integrated with the proximal portions of the neural spines actually resisted bending, and meant that when the animal's spine was undulating side to side as it walked, it lost less energy to that bending.
Huh. Okay, that's
It's an
interesting.
adaptation for mobility, or at least the proximal portions of the spine were. The distal portion was probably for display. See, Rega also found that the way that the spines grew was to remain somewhat short while the rest of the animal was growing at a pretty steady, slow rate. The spines had a distinct growth spurt, and they don't know if that's the animal reaching sexual maturity or reaching a position of social dominance, but in any case, seems to be a social signal rather than just some
kind of like maybe like it's kind of like how anoles are, where they have like the brightly colorful like neck flaps. Maybe that was the same thing with like with Dimetrodon. I would imagine these would be like really, really colorfully like displayed and everything, because I don't think they would be like. I highly doubt that something with that big of a real estate would just leave it plain. $20 is like, yeah, this was colorfully, had like nice, colorful patterns, maybe display patterns. Who knows?
kind of metabolic.
But I don't think it had like that much real estate for nothing.
Most of these toys, including the one we originally featured, have a pretty like shallow torso. That's not the case. Ribs 9 through 13 were quite deep on Dimetrodon, though some historical depictions take that a bit far. Scott Hartman made some observations about Dimetrodon's torso, specifically the way that it would have held its spine. And he showed that having it be pretty straight or having, just a gentle curve seems not to be the case. He reconstructs it with more of a up and down, more derived therapsid looking posture.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about these animals to say what that would imply, but it sure looks
Like I mentioned, I have a feeling like it's even down to its posture. More than likely what it was that it had probably maybe like a crocodilian posture, considering that its gait would have been similar to that of like maybe like an alligator. So I have a feeling like it would have been, partially splayed out. Now, it's not to say like it was dragging its, its belly on the ground like reptiles or anything like that. But I do think like it might have had like a semi-sprawled kind of posture.
neat. And it squares with the way that the spines bend, because they're not actually straight up and down like most of these toys portray them. They have distinct fanning out, and bending the spine the way he did lets them be more evenly spaced. I didn't talk about integuments at all, but all of these toys, except for the really low effort ones show a tuberculate scaly pavement. I don't know if that's accurate. See, we have traces from other non-therapsid synapsids, say that 10 times fast, where we know that they would have had scutes on the belly, but then beyond that, they had scaleless, just mammal-like skin.
Huh.
And I don't know to what extent the whole rest of the animal would have been just wrinkly, scaleless skin, or maybe it had other.
I think it probably had scales. Probably maybe not as bad, but like I do think it probably did have scales on it. Maybe not with all synapsids, but definitely probably like Dimetrodon, I would assume had scales on it.
Scutes elsewhere, or maybe it did have patches of tuberculate pavement. We know.
I don't think it
you
was.
know,
I don't think it was wrinkly.
parts of its skeletal anatomy were not just in between reptile and mammal. It was a mosaic of some features that are more reptile-like and some features that are more mammal-like, and probably its integument was no exception. But that's another thing showing out. These are not just like a first draft of an animal. These are not just some
Right.
primitive template that was left to be improved upon. These were the first fully terrestrial amniote apex predators, if you'll excuse the overly specific superlative, but they were experimenting with some adaptations that would be successful for hundreds of millions of years, convergently, mind you, but just because their successors did some things better doesn't mean that Dimetrodon was a failure.
Right. It was just like it was the first of like a
Dimetrodon
long
probably
lineage.
merits a revisitation in a full, proper Your Dinosaurs Are Wrong episode, but for now, this is what we've got. So thank you for watching
Yeah.
this Your Dinosaurs Are Wrong archive. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you all next time.
Yeah.
We would like to extend
Give this guy a
thank you
follow.
to
Like
these
if
individuals.
you guys haven't, like, give this guy a follow on his YouTube channel. It is Your Dinosaurs Are Wrong. Like this guy is actually like I love, like I said, I love watching this guy short. Like I'll sit here at work all day and I'll just like binge almost all of his shorts. Like he's really, really interesting to watch. But with that being said, everybody, that is where we shall call it there for the night. It is getting a little bit late, and I do sadly need to get up early in the morning. No stream tomorrow. No stream tomorrow. But we will return on. Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys for stopping by, and also thank you for, Zakamon, thank you so much for the raid, and also Peachy, thank you so much for the raid as well. Thank you all of our raiders and all of our lurkers as well. Thank you all for, stopping by and listening to me yap about my autistic hyper fixations and stuff like that. It really does mean the world. Like, it really does warm my heart when people tell me like they like listening to me yap about, the stuff that I'm really, really passionate about, because I really don't have a whole lot of like confidence in myself. So this is a really big like little boost for me. Let me see here. Whomst is on tonight that we can raid, everybody. Let me see here. Whomst of our lovely friends are on tonight? Let's see here. We have. Let's see here. We have Hestia. She's playing Dead by Daylight. Of course she is. We have Ping, who's playing. Ooh, she's playing Attack of the Power of Juju. I haven't seen that in a long time. We have Krembo. We have the lovely Mr. Krembo, who is. He's playing Night Rain. Oh, he's playing Night Rain. Oh, okay. You know what? Actually, fucking, let's read Krembo. Because, like, so I actually bought Night Rain solely because Celine, Pegasus Witch, convinced me to get it. And I swear to God, I'm going to drag that fucking horse into playing Night Rain with me. I swear to all that is holy, I'm going to drag that fucking horse into playing Night Rain with me. But yeah, So we're all going to go say hi to Krembo. And until then, everyone, I'll catch you all later. I'll see you all on Wednesday. And let's go say hi to Krembo.